Locations in several communities throughout the southern part of the province. B&A Petroleum is available for all your bulk fuel and lubricant needs, with propane at selected locations Monday to Friday. And don't forget, their Cardlock location is accessible 24 hours for your convenience. B&A Petroleum. Fuel you once, fuel you forever.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar, 35 years of experience, moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more about your livestock operation. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Well, you heard the man. It is time for the Sports Cage, brought to you by Kellen Solar, 35 years of experience moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more for your livestock operation. I'm Tegan Whitco. I'm your Monday host of the Sports Cage. Welcome. Got a pretty good show lined up for you. A little bit of news here in Saskatchewan today with, of course, CFL Commissioner Stuart Johnston announcing the 2027 Grey Cup will be taking place at Mosaic Stadium. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that, of course. In fact, Craig Reynolds is going to be stopping by to dive in a little bit more on that. So listen for that at about 4:30. We also have Justin Dunk that is going to be joining us a little bit later on. We want to hear from him coming off of this weekend in the CFL. And, of course, we want to hear from you. We want to hear what you have to say about a couple of controversial calls during that game between the Saskatchewan Roughriders and BC Lions at Mosaic Stadium as they wrapped up that CFL regular season. We're also going to have a conversation with Blake Murphy from Sportsnet. He is an analyst, and he's going to help us tee up Game 3 of the World Series in LA tonight. He's in the outfield right now getting ready for that game. The Coach's Show with Rider head coach Corey Mace. We're going to chat with Darian Durant and Dante Decaria swinging by for Pats Chat. So yeah, I'm here. I'm Tegan Whitco. I'm joined alongside Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. And we have plenty to get to here, Dave. But first, we should talk about the weekend that was a football weekend in Saskatchewan. Some gorgeous weather as well. So University of Saskatchewan Huskies and the University of Regina Rams both wrapping up the 2025 Canada West regular season. Rams fell to the Thunderbirds on Friday. And, of course, Saskatoon finishes first, Regina second. Rams in Manitoba, of course, on Saturday. Now, there was also a pretty big game at Mosaic Stadium yesterday. Thunder and Hilltops, overtime thriller. You were at the game, right?
Heartbreaker. Boy, I tell you, great contingent of fans from both cities on hand. And, you know, I didn't see it coming. Regina Thunder all over the Hilltops, in my estimation. The Hilltops kept shooting themselves in the foot, taking terrible penalties. Into the fourth quarter you go, 31 seconds left. The Saskatoon Hilltops are down 8 points. No, they were down at 15 at the midpoint of the quarter. 8 points are down. They score a touchdown, 2-point convert. We're tied. 31 seconds. Okay, we're going to overtime. I typed that out. Not so much. The Regina Thunder go ahead. They get the ball back. They move into Hilltop territory after another penalty, and they try a 52-yard field goal. Sean Green doesn't hit the upright, as we've seen that happen in Saskatchewan. He hits the crossbar, missing it literally by an inch. Otherwise, the Regina Thunder win the game. So, doesn't work. We're going to overtime. Wrong again. Flags on the field. The Hilltops had hit the center. So what that means is you move the ball up 15 yards and you kick it again. Now, this time around, I wondered, are the Thunder going to do it? Are they going to bring out the punter and go for the Rouge to avoid having to kick a field goal? No, Sean Green's been dynamite all season long. He comes out. One that he wants back goes wide right. We go into overtime. Thunder, they score a field goal in their possession. Hilltops score a touchdown on theirs. The Hilltops win and will play in the Canadian Bowl against the Okanagan Sun.
You never know what's going to happen in October when it comes to football here in Canada. That's why we love it, right? Never a dull moment. Of course, Saskatchewan Roughriders, I mentioned earlier, they fell to the BC Lions on Saturday, and pretty big topic of conversation right now. It's part of our sportscage.com poll, so if you haven't voted yet, I encourage you to go. Tell us what you think about the Tavon Campbell fumble recovery. Should it have counted as a touchdown? A lot of people have been talking about this one on X, formerly Twitter. It looked like a scoop and score. There was apparently, and if you're watching the stream right now at sportscage.com or our YouTube, you can see the play unfolding. It looked like it was good, but apparently there was a whistle that blew it dead.
Okay, so let's rewind this and analyze it for a moment. And again, the text line, the phone line is open for you to weigh in too. But right now, 85% of people at sportscage.com believe that the call was muffed.
Yeah.
And Kean Hatcher Sr. is reaching for the end zone with the football. He goes up, and live, I thought he was in. I thought he broke the plane. Definitely not what we see on the replay. Ball gets knocked out of his hands. Tavon Campbell scoops it up, runs down the field for what could have been one of the last long fumble recovery touchdown returns in CFL history. But they rule no, there was a whistle that went. And I know that my take is very unpopular on this. You were on the field, though. Did you hear the whistle? Because that was the ruling from the replay center.
I was on the sidelines, and I did not hear a whistle. Granted, it was pretty loud in that building, but I believe it was TSN. They played it back, and there was allegedly a whistle. Was it a fan in the stands? I don't know.
It might be one of those things that we'll never know. But the replay center review, right, they ruled that, yes, there was a fumble. Yes, they didn't get into the end zone, they being the BC Lions.
Right.
And yes, the Riders should have possession. But they ruled that there was a whistle that was blown, and so the only spot that they could put the football was on the Riders' 3-yard line. Now, it would go on to cost them points in the football game. And
27-20 final,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, and again, I know I'm unpopular, but if someone somewhere in the replay center heard a whistle, you have to call it.
Yeah. That's
you have
the rule.
to stop
a rule's
the
a
play.
rule.
I know, as unpopular as it is, and as a mistake as it was, it's unpopular, and it's you tell the players to play to the whistle, right?
Yep.
So now all of a sudden, no, keep playing well after the whistle, because that's what we want you to do.
What do you think? You can give us a call. Prairie Line Rentals text line, from skid steers to tents to power tools. Anything you need to rent that spring or summer job is at Prairie Rentals. Deal with the owner at 600 Albert Street. So as Dave mentioned earlier, you can always text us, but we'd love to take a call from you as well. Seaman, producer Curtis, he's ready to take your phone calls here, 306-936-6262, or toll free at 1-866 Am I getting that right? 1-866-767-0620. We are off to a smashing start here, Dave. I can't even remember the phone number.
I heard a rumor that because you don't need your seats, because you're going to be on the sideline for the West Final, you're giving them up? Is that true?
I am. If you call us, if you text us, give us your input on that, what could have been a scoop and score with Tavon Campbell, or if you just want to talk about anything stemming from that game, you'll have a chance to win tickets to the West Final. That's next Saturday, November 8th at Mosaic Stadium. And we're going to find out this weekend who the Riders are going to be facing. So again, that Prairie Land Rentals text line, you can also call it 306-936-6262 or call toll free at 1-866-936-6262. Okay, we are going to take a quick break. Our buddy Justin Dunk is going to be swinging by on the other side, so if you'd like to chat with us, we'd love to hear from you. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.
Listen weekdays at noon for Saskatchewan Today on CKRM with your host, Ryan Young, offering the most extensive agricultural news coverage with precision weather meteorologists in an industry that moves fast. Stay updated with the latest, most reliable information in ag news, crisis and trends, all in one place. Available anytime at saskagtoday.com. Saskatchewan Today, your trusted source for all things agriculture. Sponsored by Affinity Credit Union on 620 CKRM.
All the farmland and equipment you could need are available at auction this fall with Ritchie Brothers. A wide variety of farmland auctions across Western Canada will begin in earnest in October and run into December to get you ready for the next season. With new parcels of land and equipment continually added to their inventory, make sure to visit their website so you never miss an opportunity. Head over to rbauction.com to get started. Again, that's rbauction.com. Ready to raise your shower game? Rent a water heater and water softener together from Reliance Heath and turn every shower into a spa-worthy experience. Right now, when you rent a new water heater and water softener together, you'll get $400 back, sent by check after installation. Why settle for meh when you can upgrade your whole home's water and get big cashback savings. Don't miss out on this limited time offer.
Call on Reliance.
Call on Reliance Heath today.
The postal strike has thrown a monkey wrench into the world-famous Keniston Superdraft. If you're waiting for your forms and they don't show up, head over to superdraft.com and print them off today. There's still $90,000 in total cash prizes to be won in the world-famous draft. Don't miss out. And yes, the Super 8 is back. Don't wait for the mail. Hit up superdraft.com. Find some buddies and get in on some real NHL pool action with the Keniston Superdraft. Deadline is October 28th, 8 p.m. Central Time.
If you've got a Steelcraft garage door, you've got a door with parts manufactured and assembled right here in Canada. A door with better insulation and seal, plus a warranty you're probably never going to use. Combined with a LiftMaster opener, it's the right choice. And if you don't have a Steelcraft garage door, you should get one. And a LiftMaster opener. 100% made by Canadians for Canadians. Steady, tariff-free pricing and great quality, no matter what.
Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door. We offer more.
Sportscage is live streaming from our Century Studios in downtown Regina. Watch now at sportscage.com and our YouTube channel. Be part of the show by texting 306-936-6262. 620 CKRM.
Yes, and you have Tegan Whitco with you, joined by Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. If you missed it, some pretty big news dropped today at Mosaic Stadium. Stuart Johnston was in town for the announcement. Of course, Premier Scott Moe was there, Regina Mayor, Chad Baczynski, among many other individuals. They announced that the 2027 Grey Cup is coming to Saskatchewan. So we're going to be diving into that throughout the show as well. But we are also asking for your input. We want to know what you think about a pretty controversial call during the Rider-Lions game Saturday night at Mosaic Stadium. There's a lot of strong opinions on this one. Do you think Tavon Campbell's fumble recovery should have counted as a touchdown? That is the question on our Sportscage poll as well. So go to vote, sportscage.com. That's also where you can watch the stream. It's also on YouTube and, of course, right here on your radio. So the phone number, if you want to give us a shout, give us your input, you'll have a chance to win West Final tickets at Mosaic Stadium. The number, 306-936-6262. You can also call toll-free at 1-866-767-0620. And I understand that we already have someone on the phone, Dave, that wants to give us their input.
I'm ready.
Let's go. Hey, who's this?
Hi, it's Jim.
Well, hey, Jim. What do you think about that call on Tavon Campbell's scoop and score that came back?
Well, seeing as we're on the radio, I'll keep it above the table.
Please do.
It was. I'm just off work, so I'm really relaxed. I think it was not good. That should have been a touchdown, and the whole game should have been a little bit different because of the control command center. I do not approve of Toronto being the command center because they hate Saskatchewan, and it should be in Alaska or Montana somewhere where there is not a team.
Well, we got to keep it in Canada, my friend.
Jim disagrees. So what did you see on the play, Jim? If you were in the control center and the replay center, what do you want to see that call made as?
Well, the BC touchdown, he scraped the ball off the ground, and I didn't catch all the game, but I did catch that play, and when they fumbled on the 1 yard line, that was definitely like a hit from behind should be no call in football, because I used to play football. It happens a lot. And when the receivers has got his back to you and you want to get the ball, you definitely take him out, right? So that should not have been called, and it should have been a touchdown. Plus the one that I don't know for sure what his name was, the guy that dragged it off the ground and they called it a touchdown, should have not have counted.
Kean Hatcher Sr.
Yeah. That was another controversial call, if you believe Twitter.
Exactly. There was 3 or 4 of them there. That a couple went to the command center, and a couple of them that I don't know the ref's name, but I think he's a little bit one-sided too. He's not from Saskatchewan, or I don't know where he's from.
He might be from Toronto, Jim. You're right on that.
I bet you he is. Yeah, I guarantee you he's got a homestead in Toronto.
Jim, not a fan of Toronto, hey? Well, you're off work at 3 o'clock. Do you need a part-time job?
But yet we got a young guy from Saskatchewan, and I'm real good friends with his parents. Stephen Smith is an Abernethy boy.
Yeah.
And I'm real good friends with his parents, and he's a good little football player.
But he plays in Toronto.
But he plays for Toronto. So next time there's a trade, let's trade. No, we don't want to trade Gaynor. I like him. So
No.
trade 3 bags of Sarcan for him. He's worth way more than that, but we don't want to give Toronto anything, right?
There you go.
Well, Jim, thank you so much for giving us a shout on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. You are now officially in for some Western final tickets at Mosaic Stadium November 8th. Appreciate it.
Oh, that would be great. We had tickets to the last game, but due to unforgivable circumstances, we had to miss it. So I would love to come to the Western final. I'd even get all dressed up in my green garb.
Love that. Love that. Thank you so much, Jim. Appreciate the call. If you want to give us a shout, by the way, you could also get your name entered into that draw. Call us anytime, 306-936-6262, or, of course, toll free at 1-866-767-0620. But now joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline, which, by the way, it's brought to you by Western Pizza, the pizza that's known worldwide for a reason, loaded with toppings of Western Canadian ingredients and always cooked to perfection. 3 Down Nation's Justin Dunk. Welcome.
What's going on, team? Tegan, shout out to you. First show. Doing
and we
big.
can't hear him.
I like it.
Hi. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties. Blame Curtis.
All right, see, man, you got me up now?
Yeah, you're good.
I was all hyped up. I was just saying, Tegan, your first show. You got quite the guest lineup. I'm excited for you.
Well, thank you for being a part of it. I really appreciate it. I know you're busy, and you were probably pretty excited to continue this conversation from our Rider Nation call-in show Saturday night. We got some hot takes, Justin, regarding that scoop and score that came back on Devon Campbell. So what is your perspective on that call?
I did see one of the officials who was working that game on my plane ride back. Actually, I won't name who it was. And I noticed that he was looking at some game film. So that's how I was like, who is this in front of me? Literally the row in front of me, watching the game film. It's got to be a coach or a referee, somebody of importance. And I straight up asked him, I said, what happened on that play? And you could tell he didn't want to give really any description because
I wonder
he thought he
why.
might be quoted on it. So, yeah, I totally understand that. But he essentially said that, they are trying to err on the side of player safety, and the crew thought that it was a touchdown. But as we've heard a bunch from people in Rider Nation, there was no, I don't think, on-field indication. Like, Dave, did you see any official raise their hands?
No official raised their hands at all on it. I thought it was a touchdown, though. I said he's in the end zone. Or close to.
It did seem like it was close upon review, but that was the explanation that I got for one of the officials who worked the game. And, I took this stance on the post-game show, and I'll say it again. It's unpopular, but TSN did a really good job of showing that there actually was a whistle that was blown.
I will say our poll right now at sportscage.com, do you think Devon Campbell's fumble recovery should have counted as a touchdown? Overwhelmingly, yes. It was clear and obvious Campbell had recovered the ball and scored a touchdown. That is 64.5% of the vote. Keeping in mind, yes, we do live in, Rider Nation, but no. The CFL Replay Center was there to make the right call, and they did 2.95%. Just goes to show.
One part of this that I'll add in is if there was an inadvertent whistle like TSN used on their broadcast, why wasn't the rest of the play blown dead? If there was one, if you're the officials, wouldn't you want to try to cover up your boo-boo a little more and blow a bunch of whistles and stop Devon Campbell from getting to the end zone, because then you don't have the wrath of Rider Nation coming at you?
Well, and again, Tavon talked about it with Tegan on the field, right? Mm-hmm. And he said, well, why are they still chasing me? Because Nathan Rourke chased him the length of the field. He almost got him, too, so it wasn't like Rourke let up because he thought he heard a whistle, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of opinions on this one, and we'd love to hear from you. So give us a call, 306-936-6262, or text us throughout the show. You'll have a chance to win some of those West Final tickets. But now we should talk about the matter at hand here, Justin. Big announcement, 2027 Grey Cup coming back to Saskatchewan, second time in 5 years. So that's a pretty big deal. Did you have any indication that it would be coming back to Saskatchewan, or were there some other rumors milling about?
There was some talk about it going to Edmonton, and then when I dug into it a little more, it did not sound like that proposal actually got tabled. So when you run through the rest of the other possible teams that could have gone to, it didn't really make sense. Like, it's not going to go to Winnipeg 2 times in 3 years, right? It was just in BC, and Calgary has it in 2026. Ottawa's stadium and their renovations won't be ready, and I don't believe they submitted a bid. So really, when you looked at it, Saskatchewan became a favorite from that standpoint. So I know to some people it seemed like it was early for it to go back to the Heartland, but I think when you consider Mosaic Stadium still in its prime, I think the best stadium and facility that there is in the Canadian Football League, you might as well make use of it.
They're going to make a killing selling a bunch of mittens and toques, that's for sure.
But are you surprised at all? And BMO Field has hosted a Grey Cup before. Do the Argonauts want to host a Grey Cup anytime soon? I get it. They got the World Cup this coming summer, and maybe that dictates where some of the money is spent. But wouldn't Toronto want this?
You would think that any city would want it. But to your point about BMO Field, the last time that it was there, a lot of people locally talked about how the CFL and the Argos were trying to paper the house. And if I remember, I think that was the infamous pizza giveaway, where I don't want to mess up the details here, but essentially you could get some free tickets for buying a decent amount of pizza for Pizza. So I think that when you look at out west, we know that the majority, if not all of the markets out there, are more rabid fan bases for the CFL than Toronto is at the moment right now. Definitely from an economic standpoint, you want to have it in your city. And I think that Toronto probably could have marketed it, especially with increased alignment at MLSE now that Ed Rogers essentially owns, I think it's like 3/4 of MLSE at this point, that you could get some synergies there and fill the building. So I think that's a valid point, Dave. Is like some of the teams in the East, well, would they have wanted it Hamilton's head too? And I think it was a 3-year span recently, but that was because the pandemic messed some things up. And then you look at Montreal, and their stadium's just not big enough right now. All the Grey Cups that have been there were at Olympic Stadium. So I think that's a fair point. It's like, wouldn't Toronto want to have it? And then also, wouldn't they want to try to recoup some of the revenue because they're going to play 3 road home games next year?
Yeah. Well, if you ask Jim, our caller that we have on there, he is totally fine with us not having a Grey Cup in Toronto.
Oh, boy. Okay, so can I go away from the Grey Cup for just a second? And Justin, you were on top of it when it came to what was going to be happening with the Ottawa Red Blacks and the changes there. Mm-hmm. And of course, Bob Dice has been relieved as head coach. But aren't the Red Blacks kind of in a little bit of trouble right now? Because next year they'll have to pay for 2 head coaches, and there's that coach's salary cap, right?
There is. There's actually a amnesty clause that you can have where you can pay that contract and it not be counted towards your football operations cap. There's some other details that go along with it, but you're right. Depending how they want to go about the financial situation there, it could be a little tricky. I don't necessarily think that that's going to stop OSEG or general manager Sean Burke from going out and trying to hire who they believe is the best candidate. But, I think something that should be said, Rider Nation's loving the guy right now, and rightfully so, is Corey Mace, because before he interviewed with the Riders and ultimately took the job leading into the 2024 CFL season, he interviewed in Ottawa the year before. So there was a chance that Ottawa could have gotten Corey Mace. Now, at that time, it was a difficult decision because Bob Dice had took over as the interim head coach, and it seemed like the players were behind him. And then we got to remember that it wasn't too long ago, like in 2024, Bob Dice led that team to the playoffs. So to me, that's the one big tie that sticks out for Rider Nation is, You're lucky that the Ottawa Red Blacks passed up on Corey Mace and he ended up in the Heartland.
Yeah, Red Blacks fans are certainly kicking themselves now, hey? Whew. Let's talk a little bit about the road to this Grey Cup now. I want to get your take on, now that, the semis are set, what do you like in these matchups? Let's start with Winnipeg-Montreal. How do you think Winnipeg is going to fare?
I think it's going to be tough. And Davis Alexander's record has been proven that when he's healthy, starts a game and finishes it, he doesn't lose. And you're going into Montreal, and I know they've supposedly banned the air horns there, but Dave can attest it's still noisy there. They bring noisemakers, don't they, Dave?
Yeah, they do. Absolutely. Bang on.
So it's going to be loud and proud. All the Quebecers will be there supporting their team. I think Montreal's a bit of a buzzsaw, especially on defense, that could be really difficult for this Winnipeg offense that's been out of sorts, especially the last couple weeks, and even against the Saskatchewan Roughriders in week 20. Zach Collaros was running around for his life there. So I like the Alouettes at home. I do think there's a path to victory for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and it involves a steady, consistent dose of Brady Oliveira, who, oh, by the way, is still the reigning MOC and MOP.
Now let's shift things over to the West. We now know that the Riders have this bye week, obviously, and they're awaiting their next opponent in Calgary, BC. Who do you think they're going to fare best against after we kind of talk about who you think is going to win this one?
I think actually from the recent games, Saskatchewan will match up well against both those teams. I know some people in Rider Nation might be scared of Calgary because of what happened earlier in the season, but it's not the same football team. I don't think Vernon Adams Jr. is playing at the same level that he was earlier in the year. And the injury to Folarin Ormalade, the star defensive end for the Stamps, he's out for the season, suffered an Achilles injury, is really a big one for this football team. He saw a lot of double teams. He allowed Jalen Hutchings in the middle to get more favorable matchups. But now teams can focus on Hutchings. And yes, they went out and got Lorenzo Malden, but he is, with all due respect, not in the same echelon as Folarin or Malade. So I think the Riders could fare well against Calgary. And then we saw the fits that Saskatchewan was able to give BC last week at Mosaic Stadium, with Trevor Harris only playing a quarter and a half. And Trevor Harris was carving that defense, like 10 of 11 for 112 yards, 3 drives, points came on all of them, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, looked really good against that defense that started off slow for BC, picked up, I would say, in the second part of the season, but it seemed like Harris had their number. So I think from an overall standpoint, any time that you have the best player in the Canadian Football League coming into your building, I think that's going to give you the most trouble. And in my opinion, that person this year is Nathan Rourke. But Nelson Lacombo showed in that game at Mosaic Stadium on Saturday night that he's got a pretty good read on Rourke and those vertical seams that Luke Mullender talked about. So I think BC's going to have different elements definitely in the game plan. But I think either one matches up decently well for the Riders.
Hypothetically, let's say it is Calgary. How much of this would be a mental hurdle for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, just solely based on the fact that during the regular season, they did not beat the Stamps?
I think there's a bit of a mental hurdle there, but those games were actually like earlier in the season. I think both those games were in the summertime, wasn't even down the back stretch here. So I think Corey Mace has this team so locked in on going 1-0 that they'll watch some of that tape from earlier in the season perhaps and try to learn from it, but they're going to be looking at the last handful of games for the trends of what this team is, like I talked about, without some of the key contributors in Folarin or Malade on defense. So I think they'll be able to get over that mental hurdle.
So, of course, Justin Dunk is our guest on the Western Pizza guest hotline. If you want to give us a shout, Justin joins us, of course, from 3 Down Nation, but he's also on the Rider Broadcast Network pre-game, post-game. We take your calls. And, of course, that Tavon Campbell scoop and score that was called back was a massive topic of conversation. So we'd love to hear from you. 306-936-6262 or 1-866-767-0620. You call, you text, you might go to the West Final for free. I'm curious, though, have you heard any more about grading the command center when situations like this happen? Can you take a little peek behind the curtain there for us, or have you heard anything new?
The officials do get graded, so then by extension, and this is just my speculation, I would imagine the command center is graded as well, and that ultimately determines playoff assignments and Grey Cup assignments. Like, these officials don't want to be out here blowing calls. I know that might be breaking news to Rider Nation, but they're trying their best to get it right. So I think sort of the other part of this conversation is, how can the officials in the Canadian Football League be more supported? Like we talked about it on the 3 Down Nation podcast. Do you make your officials more well compensated, let's say? I don't think you're ever going to get to the point where you have full-time officials, but how can we help them out? I think this is a bit of a one-off where there was an inadvertent whistle, but there is definitely a grading system, and ultimately the more games that you work, the more money that you make. So these guys want to be part of the playoffs and the Grey Cup as an officiating crew.
Just to build on that, now I don't have the ins and outs in the Canadian Football League, but if you go to the youth sports level, the officials there, and I know there's a bunch of support at the local branch level, so that would be the Saskatchewan Football Officials Association. The amount of scrutiny that they undergo, it's intense. Like, it is followed up with video work, and it can come down to a blown spot, and not of the football, of where your placement is on the field. That can determine in youth sports whether or not you work a playoff game or not, or how many you get. So I'd assume that in the CFL, it would be the same, but there has to be a conversation. And I would assume that's one of the things, Justin, you know better. Would Stu Johnston have that on his to-do list in this offseason to examine where the replay center fits in? Like, they changed the name of it halfway through the year.
True. I mean, Stuart Johnston has said everything's on the table. I think a lot of that job would go to Darren Hackwood, who is in the league office and oversees the officials, and ask the question that Stuart Johnston has gone around asking. Just because we did it this way in the past, does it make sense to do it this way in the future? And how can we improve? And I think one of the things to improve for the command center is perhaps being able to speed up the process. I don't know the entire process behind the scenes, but we've seen it a number of times watching, for example, the Blue Jays in these playoffs, right? You get a finite amount of time where you can challenge a play, but also the command center, for lack of a better term, whatever it's called in the MLB, I would imagine, and I think in the NFL, they've gotten this down really well. They're watching the play already. They're dissecting it to make sure they didn't miss anything egregious. I think the command center in the CFL tries to do the same thing, but I would imagine that Stuart Johnston is going to look at, just like everything else in the CFL, the officiating with a magnifying glass in the offseason.
We did get a text from Daryl here at 306-936-6262. Curious to see, can the command center overrule a whistle on the field?
That you can't. It's in the rule book. If there's a whistle and there's a recovery, exactly how it was explained during the game, I know Rider Nation doesn't want to hear it, then that's what happens. It's not ideal, but that's the rule.
A rule's a rule.
Anybody else catch Tavon Campbell in the post-game show when he talked about what he was doing during the bye week and said that they were going to watch 3 teams film this week? So the two teams in the West semifinal and whoever they think is coming out of the East. I thought that was pretty under the radar by Tavon to slip that in.
I caught that too, and I thought, he's thinking ahead already? Like, Corey Mace usually has these guys dialed in for going 1-0, but perhaps the Riders think that Hamilton's going to make the playoffs, make the Grey Cup. I guess we'll see.
Really quick before, because I'm being told that we have to take a break here, but I want to get your take on who you think is going to win in LA tonight. Do you think it's the Dodgers, Jays? You got Glasnow and Scherzer.
I got to go with Mad Max. I think he wants this so bad. He had his Scherzer moment, and then Trevor Harris and Corey Mace said that they had their Scherzer moment earlier in the season, that this guy is just about greatness. And what I liked about it was the players talking about them being scared to even go talk to Mad Max on his day of a start. I don't know if that's the best thing, but to me, it tells you that this guy is so locked in on being great that in this moment and the history that he can make, I think it's the 4th team that he started a World Series game with. He understands the magnitude of the moment. He's pitched in that park before. So I got a good feeling about Scherzer and the Jays.
All right. That's a good answer, especially here, in Rider Nation and in Canada. I think everyone's going to be watching that game tonight. So enjoy the game and
No whistles with the Blue Jays tonight, so don't worry about that. We're all covered.
Oh, man. Something's going to happen now that you said it. You jinxed it, Dave.
Yeah,
Thanks for that. No, Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation. Always appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thanks, Tegan. Keep crushing it.
All right. Appreciate it, buddy. Now, coming up next, we're actually going to talk more Blue Jays baseball. Blake Murphy from Sportsnet is going to stop by to talk a little bit of Jays. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports. 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.
The postal strike has thrown a monkey wrench into the world-famous Keniston Superdraft. If you're waiting for your forms and they don't show up, head over to superdraft.com and print them off today. There's still $90,000 in total cash prizes to be won in the world-famous draft. Don't miss out. And yes, the Super 8 is back. Don't wait for the mail. Hit up superdraft.com. Find some buddies and get in on some real NHL pool action with the Keniston Superdraft. Deadline is October 28th, 8 p.m. Central Time.
The name you know and trust has moved closer to you. Mainline Motors is now only 30 minutes away. The amazing deals and award-winning service is now at your doorstep. Mainline Motors, a proud Saskatchewan name for generations, is here to serve your every need with a huge selection of new and pre-owned with prices that won't be beat. Do your wallet a favor and call Southie Mainline today, 306-726-2060, or check us out online, southie-mainline.ca. Worth the drive every time. Guaranteed.
The Roughrider Foundation's 50-50 is heating up. And the early bird prize for the West Final is a week in sunny Costa Rica. Or $9,000 cash. But don't wait. The deadline is 5 p.m. November 6th. You could be cheering in paradise. Or cheering here with a wallet full of winnings. Don't get hit with regret. Buy your 50-50 tickets early at riders5050.ca and go Riders!
Riders 50-50 is presented by ISC. Lottery license LR250011.
Canada's Conservatives have put forward a bill that will unlock our nation's true potential by rewarding those who build and invest in Canada. The Canadian Sovereignty Act introduces measures such as the Canada First Reinvestment Tax Cut to eliminate capital gains tax on reinvestments in Canada, ensuring that money stays here and builds our great economy. My name is Warren Steinley, your Conservative Member of Parliament for Regina Louvain, and I will always be on Saskatchewan's side.
Paid ad by Warren Steinley.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262 for Prairie Land Rentals. Renting heaters, skid steers, and most power tools for all those winter jobs. And your official Husqvarna snow thrower dealer. Prairie Land Rentals, 600 Albert Street, where you deal with the owner. Saskatchewan, it's time to talk sports. Sportscage is on the air. Be part of the show. Call 936-6262 or toll free 1-866-767-0620. And we're always online at sportscage.com. 620 CKRM.
It's Tegan Whitco and Dave Thomas with you. Thanks for joining us. You can stream us at sportscage.com, on our YouTube, and of course on 620 CKRM. Time now to go to the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Greek-style pizza that has become famous around the world, plus all the Greek and Canadian food you can't get enough of. Western Pizza, the local legend. Joining us from Dodger Stadium in LA, Blake Murphy, not only a Raptor, but a Blue Jay analyst as well for Sportsnet, host of Jays Talk Plus, co-host of the Raptors Show. You can find him, Blake Murphy, ODC, on Twitter. Appreciate you taking the time to do this. I imagine it's a little bit of a busy day for you.
Yeah, it's all right though. It's fun. I'm deep in left field right now at Dodger Stadium, which is a cool place to do a media hit from.
Ooh, I can only imagine. Well, it's nice to meet you over the phone. We'll have to get you in person one of these days. But Blake Murphy, of course, Raptor and Blue Jay analyst with Sportsnet. He is the host of Jays Talk Plus, co-host of the Raptors Show. And of course, you can find Blake on Twitter, Blake Murphy ODC on Twitter. So, Blake, the series is all evened up now. Jays and Dodgers, a win apiece. It shifts to LA, as you mentioned. You're in the ballpark right now. But I saw Bo Bichette starting at second tonight. What stands out to you there?
Yeah, it's nice to see him back in there. I guess the read on it is they didn't want too much too soon after a 7-week layoff. So pulled him a little early in game one when there was a spot to pinch run for him and with a lead to get a defensive replacement in there. Game two came in as a pinch hitter when they were behind, of course. So I think they're going to, play this cautiously. They do have 3 game days in a row here, so they'll play some feedback of how he's feeling and things like that. As far as the move to second base, it's fascinating because, if you look at big picture, where Bo Bichette's career is going to go, what his next contract looks like, there's a chance he's going to have to move to second base or third base at some point. But you rarely see this happen in the middle of the season. You rarely see a guy come back from injury, play a position he hasn't played in 6 years, and even then that was a small amount of games at the minor league level. So it's pretty fascinating to ask him about this and have him tell us that he was actually the one who suggested it. He thought with the health of his knee, the lateral movement, and the difficulty of the shortstop position, he would be able to get back in the lineup a little quicker if he took over second base. Andres Gimenez has done a really nice job defensively at shortstop, and they've kind of been picking each other's brains all season, but especially the last couple weeks, as Bo Bichette tries to pick up some things defensively from Jimenez, and Jimenez tries to pick up some things offensively from Bichette, who obviously the headline item here is Bichette's bat is back in the lineup. That's the most important thing here. We'll see how the defense goes at second.
Yeah, absolutely. It says a lot about his adaptability. And Blake, you also alluded to this a little bit there, and I'd like to maybe get your take on this. Bichette is a free agent after this season. Are you hearing any rumors of where he might land?
No, nothing this early. Bo Bichette's been pretty adamant the whole time that, he doesn't want to address that too much until the offseason, and then B, that his first goal is to win in Toronto and stay with Vlad for their entire careers. Now, does that have a dollar value of $5 million, of $1 million, of $15? I don't really know. If, the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Red Sox come calling with a big contract, is that enough to get him to stay? I'm not sure. I think the lines of communication will be very open. You'll hear the Blue Jays talk a lot this week and in the aftermath of the season how much the culture they've built and the camaraderie in the clubhouse matters, and they think it's a piece of what they've built here and what they're going to continue building. Bo Bichette is a part of that. But again, these things are really nice to say ahead of free agency. I don't know how much of a dollar value they carry. So if it's the difference between, $150 million and $200 million, I don't know if all the chemistry in the world is worth $50 million. So we'll see in that regard.
Blake Murphy is live in left field at Dodger Stadium. It just sounds so cool. And I would love to be there, by the way. But when you're talking Bo Bichette, by any chance, do you think that the Jays downplayed the severity of that knee injury? Because I sprained my knee before, and no, I don't have to play Major League shortstop, but still, I was able to come back from it relatively quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. It's a PCL sprain, so, how is that different from an MCL or an ACL at the position? It sounded initially like it wasn't that bad. He came back in that game and was kind of day-to-day for a couple days before they put him on the IL. So I think at least initially the way the knee responded was not what they were expecting after that collision at home plate initially happened. Look, I think this time of year you want to make the other team prepare for every scenario. So did they make it sound more optimistic for the ALCS than maybe it actually was? I don't know. I wouldn't fault them if they were trying to make sure that the Yankees and Mariners had to prepare just in case with Bichette. And he's been doing some pretty good batting practice for a while now, but really had only ran the bases in the couple days leading up to the World Series here. So I think initially it snuck up on them a little bit. And then from there, you can't blame the team if maybe they're saying one thing publicly when feeling another privately, if that's the case, given, the gamesmanship at play here this late in the season.
So, Blake, the series now tied at a game apiece. Game 3 shifting to Dodger Stadium, as we mentioned. They have an impressive home record, 52-29 this season. What do you think the key is going to be for the Jays to quiet that crowd early?
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be to get the pitch count up on Tyler Glasnow. And we saw them do that against Snell and Yamamoto. Yamamoto really settled down after, so you got to kind of keep the pressure on. And Glasnow's the type of pitcher that they'll be able to do that a little better against. He's really, really good, but he tends not to pitch super deep into games. And look, Dodger fans are very confident. They're starting to fill in to the stadium now already. And there's it's not quite Yankees-Lakers level of exceptionalism, but they know that this team is one of the best in baseball and they're the defending champions, and they're going to be pretty confident in just about everything. The area they're not confident is the bullpen. So I know your question was, how do you do that early? How do you affect the crowd early? I don't know that you can when Tyler Glasnow's on the mound and this lineup is the lineup they're going to trot out there. But I do think if you can get 25, 30 pitches on the count for Glasnow and at least have Dave Roberts in this crowd looking into the bullpen, realizing that bullpen's maybe going to have to cover 3 or 4 innings, that's when you might start to feel at least a little bit of anxiety here at Dodger Stadium.
How do you feel about that matchup with Scherzer on the mound for the Jays?
It's going to be fun. It's a game day, so I'm not going to get anywhere close to Max Scherzer. I'm not going to get close to his sight line. I'm not going to get close to where he is warming up. But as a matchup, it's really fun. And Scherzer had that great start here earlier in the season. I think he gave up 2 runs over 6 innings. It was him against Kershaw, which was really cool. But this is a big spot. This is a dangerous lineup, and it's a ballpark that is pretty homer-friendly. So Scherzer's going to have to navigate it pretty carefully, particularly with their left-handed hitters in Ohtani, Freeman, Muncy, and Edman, where, Scherzer's had a little bit of lefties can get to him. He's had a little bit of home run problems at times. Now, that was a version of Max Scherzer different than the one we saw in the ALCS. So if that one shows up, anything's possible. I think if you're the Blue Jays, look, you're about to play 3 game days in a row. You can't really afford getting into your bullpen early, so you're hoping for at least 5 good ones from Scherzer here. If he can get you twice through that batting lineup in 5 innings, I think you feel pretty good about things from there. But that's easier said than done when, Shohei Ohtani is the leadoff hitter and he's followed by 2 other MVPs in the order.
Like, I'm shocked. If I could go back in a time machine to 2023 and John Schneider walks to the mound, lifts Jose Barrios for Yusei Kikuchi in an ALDS game, I would be shocked to say that, is there any better manager in the American League right now in your estimation in the way that he's deployed this bullpen and lineup?
Yeah, I mean, you could probably, when it comes to bullpen management, look at A.J. Hinch or Stephen Vogt or something like that, the AL Central teams that have kind of, nickel and dime their way to some success. But he's done a pretty good job. I didn't love the Brendan Little move in the ALCS Game 5. And I have to say
Not many did.
He's warming up about 20 feet away from me right now, so I'll whisper that one a little bit. But, yeah, I think for the most part he's done pretty well. You go back to Game 4 of that Yankee series and how they navigated a bullpen day. You go to Game 7 of the series against the Mariners and look at some of the mistakes that Dan Wilson made that John Schneider was able to avoid. I know the Brendan Little move backfired. I know that Louis Varland gave up a home run to Cal Raleigh, but they did a pretty good job making sure even their heavily used guys weren't exposed to Julio Rodriguez, Cal Raleigh, and the rest of the punchy parts of that order too many times in a series where George Springer was seeing Edward Bizardo for the 3rd time, and Bizardo was using the exact same game plan a 3rd time. Hitters this level are eventually going to figure it out. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think John Schneider's shown a lot of improvement, not just with the bullpen, but how he navigated that big 9-run 6th inning the other night was really good, too, using Nathan Lucas when he did and saving Addison Barger to make – and I know Barger hit a grand slam, so bear with me here, but the point of bringing Addison Barger in was to bait a lefty, and so Vlad would get to see a lefty. I thought that was pretty clever, and then Barger made it look even smarter by going yard there.
So, talking about John Schneider and his impressive managing, so far, amid a couple of little hiccups here. Put on your manager hat. What would be your philosophy heading into this game? Would you make any tweaks to that lineup?
Yeah, I mean, I think the lineup's going to be pretty much, what we've come to see, except Bo Bichette will be in there instead of Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and he'll hit 4 or 5, and everyone kind of slides down one spot in the order. So I don't think lineup-wise there's a ton different. I do think one thing that they'll probably try to do, and this goes a little bit against their identity. They're a team that wants to be aggressive really early in the count, attack guys early on, make sure that they're bringing their best stuff early. And that's how you end up chasing Max Fried and Carlos Rodon and pitchers like that, how you get them out of the game quickly. I do think with Glasnow, and they've had some success against Glasnow in the past, he's a guy that you can wait out a little bit more. You want him walking guys. He's like in the 7th percentile for walk rate, so one of the league leaders in walk. He will throw a lot outside of the zone, and the Blue Jays are pretty good generally at not chasing against that kind of stuff. So I do wonder if the John Schneider, David Popkins plan today is just a little bit more passive's not the right word, but maybe a little bit more patient than we're used to, and they don't get quite as many first pitch swings, aggressive attacks in the first couple pitches of the at-bat, because, again, you really want to get to the Dodgers bullpen, and Glasnow's a guy you can do that against.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't ask for your take on Shohei Ohtani. Are we ever going to see another player like this again? This guy can do it all.
No, I don't think we will, and it's part of what's so special about this World Series is, yeah, it's awesome that the Jays are back. It's cool that I'm covering my first World Series. We're also seeing probably the best player of all time at the peak of his powers. So really cool. We'll get to see him start tomorrow. And when you contextualize it historically, he could stop pitching after tomorrow's game for the rest of his career. and he would still be one of the greatest players any of us have ever seen from just the batting side. He had the first 50-50 season last year with 50 homers and 50 stolen bases. The fact that every accomplishment he makes is just, you know how cool 3 home runs in a deciding NLCS game would have been? On its own, that would have been awesome. You didn't have to also throw 6 innings and strike 10 guys out to have a historic night, but he does that as well. So, I only caught the tail end of Barry Bonds and Barry Bonds doing what he did as a hitter. Barry Bonds also didn't go out every 5th day and start. So, not sure we're ever going to see anything quite like this again.
What a show-off. Man. How loud were those "we don't need him" chants? I imagine that was pretty entertaining to see.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And through the translator, you never know just how sarcastic someone's being or not. But Shohei did seem to have some fun with them. Said he and his wife appreciated the chants as well. So all in good fun there. I'd imagine we'll get the roles will be reversal of this series. George Springer is going to get booed a lot. He hit 5 home runs in a World Series against the Dodgers a few years back. Max Scherzer's probably going to get booed. He did not leave LA on the best of terms after getting traded, I think, in 2020 here or 2021. I think this Dodgers crowd will be on the Blue Jays case a lot tonight, too. And that's what makes, obviously the World Series is fun regardless, but these are 2 really good fan bases, 2 really loud crowds. Really excited for the atmosphere tonight as well.
Blake, if you rewind to again, I don't know why I keep going back in time with my questions, but
live in the moment, man.
Yeah, I know, isn't that true?
Called out.
Jeez, I go back to opening day, and I remember looking at the roster for the Toronto Blue Jays, and I felt like those guys at the start, the groundskeepers at the start of the Major League movie, right? Who are these guys? And I'm thinking, really, we're going to trust Davis Schneider, and we think that Ernie Clement can do something special, and did anyone else not see what happened with Jimenez last year? And the list goes on. They've all played a part. Which is the guy, though, that's the biggest part, the unsung hero, if you will, that has gone ahead and got that cog in the machine turning?
Yeah, I'd love to say Jeff Hoffman is going to come out to Wild Thing in one of these last games, but I can't push your analogy all the way there. I think for me, it's probably Ernie Clement, and that's maybe that's not the popular answer to this question because there weren't a ton of expectations, and he doesn't make very much money and things like that. But this is a guy, when you look at what the Blue Jays do well, they're a really good contact hitting team, and they never strike out. That's Ernie Clement. They're a team that's really difficult to pitch against because they can make you uncomfortable early in at-bats. Well, that's Ernie Clement. They are a team built on defensive value and defensive versatility, where one guy goes down and you can just find someone to fill in that position. That's Ernie Clement. He played 4 different infield positions this year and is up for 2 different Gold Glove awards. And then more than anything, probably, and this is a little outside of my analytic comfort zone at times, but this team is really, really driven by their chemistry and their camaraderie. And you ask around that room who is essential to that, it's Miles Straw and it's Ernie Clement. So Ernie Clement kind of checking a lot of different boxes there if you're looking for someone who kind of captures everything this team is about, even though, he's probably going to hit 7th tonight and isn't going to get $500 million this offseason. He's the guy for me that kind of best represents everything.
I'm just hoping that Barger can earn enough that he can go ahead and stay on his own couch when his parents come to town moving forward.
Yeah, seriously. Those guys are leaning into it a little bit. By the way, I saw Davis Schneider doing batting practice just like maybe half hour ago in a Bam Bam Barger t-shirt. So I hope Jamie Campbell's getting royalties on that nickname.
I love that. Blake Murphy in LA getting set for Game 3 of the World Series. Of course, we are in Blue Jays country here. And Blake Murphy is an analyst for Sportsnet, so make sure that you give him a follow. Blake Murphy, ODC on Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it now. Blake, appreciate the time. Hope you have fun at the game tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really great to chat with both of you and enjoy Game 3.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Blake.
Sask Lotteries has over 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
Howdy, y'all. It's Wood Country Woody again. Well, looks like new home prices are still higher than a giraffe on an extension ladder. But a custom and RTM home from Wood Country gives you what you're looking for at a price that's down to earth. They draft your home for your right in store. Then they custom build your home right on your site. Literally thousands less for a home you actually want. See Wood Country today.
Your home is your castle.
In McLean, Estevan, and Tisdale. Wood-country.com.
Thank you, Rider Nation. The Riders Foundation 50-50 jackpots have been massive this season, and it's all thanks to you. When you buy your 50-50, you're supporting amateur football across the province. It's playoff time, and like the games, the 50-50 gets bigger in the playoffs. Can we get it to $1 million, Rider Nation? Maybe higher. Don't get hit with regret. Buy your 50-50 tickets at riders5050.ca and go Riders!
Riders 50-50 is presented by ISC. Lottery license LR250011.
The name you know and trust has moved closer to you. Mainline Motors is now only 30 minutes away. The amazing deals and award-winning service is now at your doorstep. Mainline Motors, a proud Saskatchewan name for generations, is here to serve your every need with a huge selection of new and pre-owned with prices that won't be beat. Do your wallet a favor and call Southie Mainline today, 306-726-2060, or check us out online, southie-mainline.ca. Worth the drive every time, guaranteed.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals. Bundle and save with Reliance Heath. Rent a new water heater and softener together and get $400 cash back. Call on Reliance Heath today.
Well, here's what we get to look forward to tonight. Major League Baseball World Series Game 3 in LA. Of course, that best-of-7 series is tied at a game apiece. And the NFL Week 8, you got the Commanders and Chiefs at 6:15. And the NHL, Boston Bruins, Ottawa Senators. And that's going to be at 5:30. And then in the NBA, you got the Raptors and Spurs at 6 o'clock. That's a Sports Ticker. And it is, of course, brought to you by Reliance Group of Companies. Now, if you missed it in the first hour of this show, we did have a chance to chat with Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation, Blake Murphy from Sportsnet. He chatted with us to help tee up that Game 3 in the World Series. So if you want to go back and listen to it, you always can. Just go to sportscage.com or our YouTube as well. Coming up next on the Sports Cage, it's the Riders Coaches Show with head coach Corey Mace. Hang tight for that. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports on the 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.
This is 620 CKRM Regina, the voice of Saskatchewan, a Harvard media station. Streaming everywhere at 620CKRM.com.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Corey Atkinson from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with your 620 CKRM News. The CFL announced today that the 2027 Grey Cup will be held in Regina. Saskatchewan Roughriders President and Chief Executive Officer Craig Reynolds says the winning bid was a collaboration between the team and several partners.
It takes a strong partnership between the league and our club, province, and city to make an event of this scale happen. Everyone is all in, and we're ready to host the nation.
The Roughriders were the last CFL team to both host and win the Grey Cup back in 2013. 20-year-old Marshall Cote is the third person charged in a Regina homicide from October 13th. On that day, police found a deceased man on College Avenue just before 5 a.m. Investigators later ruled the death a homicide. Cote faces a second-degree murder charge and appeared in court today. Two others, 22-year-old Tony Moffat and 24-year-old Andre Smith, were charged with the same offense last week and appeared in Regina Provincial Court on October 23rd. Premier Scott Moe says he's sorry for not visiting sooner a northern village ravaged by wildfire earlier this summer. Moe made the apology while speaking in the Legislative Assembly. He says he was not there for those in Denair Beach soon after the fire burned down more than half the community in June. The apology came after the opposition NDP asked Moe to respond to concerns raised by residents about the province being ill-prepared to fight the fire. Moe's government has been criticized for a lack of firefighting equipment, while nearly half the water bomber fleet was grounded during the worst of the wildfire season. The federal government is putting millions of dollars into union training and foreign credential recognition to meet Canada's demand for skilled labor. Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu announced the fresh funding today ahead of the fall federal budget, which is expected to lay out major and long-lasting plans for infrastructure and home building. Hajdu was asked if the Liberals can execute on those plans without relying on foreign workers.
the hope is that we can have as much Canadian labor as possible, and unions expect us to do that. And we'll be working with the skilled trades unions, in particular the Canadian Building Trades Union, to make sure that Canadians are positioned first and foremost to take advantage of those jobs.
Haidu made the announcement at an Ottawa long-term care centre, where she also unveiled a new tax credit for personal support workers. And Canadian icon Anne Murray is pulling for the Toronto Blue Jays as they go for their first World Series title in 32 years. The series is tied at 1-1 heading into tonight's game in Los Angeles. Murray, who sang the Canadian anthem at Game 3 of the 1992 World Series, says she's been glued to her TV set watching this year's series.
Come on. Of course I've been watching the games.
What's that?
It makes me nervous, though.
Why?
Because I want them to win so badly.
Murray is in Nashville for a tribute to her career at the Grand Ole Opry. That was your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
Weather is brought to you by Linex Regina, Serious Protection Killer Looks, 1865 McCara Street. High of plus 12 and mainly sunshine today. Tonight we're going to be dropping to -1. Tomorrow, high of plus 7. Wednesday, we got a high of plus 10. Thursday, 6 degrees. And then Friday, a high of plus 5.
For 40 years, the team from Linex Regina has been protecting vehicles across Saskatchewan, and we're changing with the times. 3 generations of our family have protected your vehicles. Our business has evolved, and we're not stopping now. The next generation is here. Same family, same commitment, ready for the next generation of truck beds, rocker panels, trailers, bumpers, and running boards in all kinds of colors. Linex Regina, 1865 McCara Street, the next generation of protective coatings.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar, 35 years of experience, moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more about your livestock operation. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
It's Tegan Whitco, Dave Thomas, and Curtis keeping us on track here behind the board. This is the Sports Cage. Over the next 2 hours, plenty still on the go. We're going to speak with CEO and President of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Mr. Craig Reynolds. Big announcement made today, so we're going to talk about that with the 2027 Grey Cup coming to Saskatchewan. 5 o'clock, we're going to chat with Darian, Durant, Dante Decaria going to be stopping by for some patch chats a little bit later on as well. But first, we are going to hit that Western Pizza guest hotline. Western Pizza. It's the pizza known worldwide for a reason, loaded with toppings of Western Canadian ingredients and always cooked to perfection.
It's time for the Sports Cage Riders Coaches Show for the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation. Get your 50-50 tickets now for all Rider home and away games. Riders5050.ca and Steelcraft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
And we are excited to be joined by our next guest, head coach Corey Mace. To start things off right away, Coach, I'm wondering if you want to give your dad a shout out. I understand he listens to the show.
No, I'm good. No, I'm just what's up, Pop?
No, thanks for doing this, Coach Mace. I do just want to bring up what I alluded to briefly there. The 2027 Grey Cup coming to Saskatchewan with your recent contract extension through 2028. You feeling any extra pressure?
No, I'm elated just like anybody else in the province that we get to host a big game here. But so dialed on what's happening right now, I haven't really given much thought other than it's going to be a sweet party here.
Well, then why don't we focus our sights on the 2025 Grey Cup and the journey to get there? How are you and the team preparing this week with the bye, waiting your next opponent in the semifinals this weekend? What's that look like?
Yeah, the guys got a couple days off here just to kind of rest up and relax. We'll be getting after it here in a couple days. But coaches, we're in the office doing our due diligence, just looking at some things that we like and didn't like for ourselves throughout the season, and then obviously trying to prepare for the potential of either opponent. So just working away like a regular day.
Completely understandable. I know even when we were talking to Tavon Campbell post-game there after Saturday's matchup against the Lions, he was saying, I'm just going to be crushing tape. Is that kind of what the plan is right now?
Yeah, 100%. It's good to hear players are still, doing that even with their time off. But truthfully, that's not a shock. It's, there's a reason I think that teams tend to find themselves in these situations. It's just the total buy-in for these guys. We try to push these guys to do the extraordinary, is what we say. So that would be watching tape, even on your days off.
Coach, it's been 29 days since it will have been 29 days since your team plays a game that has impacted the standings. What have you done to make sure that they're prepared to be at the top of their game when it matters most?
Yeah, I think they've just, trying to treat each day like it's really the same, like that it's been since training camp. We try to pride ourselves on trying to get better each day. If you keep that a constant, then it really should put you in best favor. So, business as usual, really, for everybody. You don't really need to amp up the situation. Everybody understands what it is. We're just super excited to be able to do that in front of our home crowd here with Rider Nation, at our back. And really kudos to the guys, for putting in that work throughout the season to get that. But even, the last couple of weeks, was crucial for us, I think, moving forward, just not only to get, some other guys some extra reps, but just for us to continue our process and trying to find ways to be better as a team. It didn't really turn out, how we wanted in the win category, but I thought there was a lot of really good tape for us to learn from, and a lot of good tape, truthfully, that we just put out there from a lot of guys that got a chance to play against teams who statistically had everything to play for. So was pretty pleased, to be honest with you, outside of obviously not getting the wins, but pretty pleased with the team and their effort.
Now, I was very careful in the way that I worded that question, and probably there's a lot of people saying, Dave, you should watch your words more carefully more often. Having said that, though, you mentioned a number of times that it was important to get those players some quality game time to see what it was all about. How much evaluation of players went on the last couple of weeks when you were able to put guys on the field in live reps?
Oh, tremendous amount. I mean, I'd like to say it was just only these last 2 weeks, but anytime anybody gets a chance to step on the field and represent the team, heavy evaluation goes into that. Now, not necessarily just a game. I mean, there's in totality, there's so many practices, games throughout a season. We always have an eye on that. So, unfortunately, I think the crappy part about the business is that if you don't perform, we have to find somebody else to do it. But, for us, for the most part, the locker room hasn't changed a tremendous amount. And it's just a credit to those guys and the work that they've put in, the commitment that they have to the process, that we have, and the mindset that we have to really just look to try to win a game each week. A lot goes into that each day, and those guys take it seriously. So the evaluation kind of never really stops. But you're happy to see guys get the opportunity if it presents itself when they get out there to represent the team.
So what's your evaluation on Michael Hughes, who came in to kick Saturday at Mosaic Stadium?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy who's been here for a couple of weeks, getting acclimated to, the CFL game, the CFL rules. I'm not sure if he thought he was going to get extra points for kicking it through the goalposts on his kickoff or not. But, he's got a big leg. We saw that in his tape coming out of college. And he's provided that same sentiment here in practice. So happy the kid to get out there, get a shot to put on for the team. Did a great job making his kicks, and, was I think everybody's going to talk about the kickoff, obviously, after the penalty they took, bumped the ball up a couple extra yards, never hurts. So we'll take that. But really pleased with his performance, and again, happy he's part of the team.
I think there would be a lot of Rider fans that would be very upset with me if I didn't at least ask, do you have a plan that you're willing to share for the kicking position in the West Final?
Yeah, same as everybody. We'll pick the best one that we see to make the team the best. So, and that honestly, and I get it. I know it's something we're looking at now. We had meetings about the potential of what things could look like potential if there's a couple moves here or there. But ultimately, those guys are going to be able to have to decide that with how they practice. When we be able to put together the best possible team, we'll put those pieces into place. But yeah, we ain't making none of those decisions till right before the game.
Coach, up in Saskatoon the last 2 years, you've talked about when it comes to roster cut down days and how difficult that is, because you are heavily invested in the personalities that you have in that locker room. Is it any easier having to approach an athlete, whether it's Trevor Harris, whether it's Antoine Brooks Jr., whomever it may be, to say, hey, I'm sorry you're not in the lineup this week?
Yeah, no, it's not easy. It's tough, specifically, if you're in the building, everybody's putting in the same amount of work, and everybody hopes obviously to play, whether it's a regular season game or a playoff game or what have you. So the conversation is never easy, but what you just try to let everybody understand is, we go as a team. So, if you're not playing, what can you do to help the team be successful? And take pride in that. Now, again, not always the easiest conversation, be it from me or from a player to hear, but it is the necessity of the game, and I think we all know what we signed up for. So the only thing you can control is what you control, and that's the product that you put out there during the practice field.
I do apologize if I'm putting words into your mouth, but I would assume going 1-0 the last 2 weeks was the main goal. The next goal was to make sure that your roster was ready for when the playoffs came. And you said last week that you felt the roster was trending in the right direction so that you could have everyone available for the West Final. Were you able to accomplish that goal?
Yeah, we made it out fairly clean this last week. And looking at the trajectory of everybody being able to have this, I'm stealing Taylor's, this bonus week. It's everything's trending in the right direction, which is excellent. It's what you hope for. And certainly some guys may have needed a little bit of extra rest for the thought process, to make the playoff push here. So, ultimately, again, just like I was saying before, let's see how everybody's doing, and they're out there practicing. And again, we're going to have to make decisions that puts the best team out there. So, but from what we were hoping, everything's trending in the right direction, which is awesome.
Now, Coach, it's been a big topic of conversation ever since Saturday night's game, and not to spend too much time looking in the rearview mirror, but Tavon Campbell's scoop and score that was called back. I know there are quite a few of you who were animated on the sidelines. Have you had any more chances to go back and rewatch and kind of digest what happened there?
Yeah, I mean, by the letter of the law, what happened is what they called is what had to have happened. The ref blew his whistle, and you can't advance it from that point. And they awarded us the ball, but unfortunately, the points didn't come our way. So, it's never an easy pill to swallow, but over time, you're going to get some of those, and you're not going to get some of those. But we've had 3 of those this year, so I'm hoping it's going to turn for us here. It'll be worth it if it turns.
Get
for
them
us.
out of your system now.
Yeah.
So as you attack and tackle this next preparation period before the West Final, how does that look as far as what you're doing on the field, what you're doing off the field, and maybe is it self-reflective to start before you hone in on an opponent? How does it look?
Yeah. I think as coaches, it's self-reflection first, and then, start narrowing your focus on the potential opponents. And then, from a player's standpoint, it's just, getting the proper amount of rest, but also, not letting yourself get too rusty. Guys are in here lifting weights and still watching some film, even in their off days. And then we'll get out there on the practice field, keep them moving, keep them together. Everybody spends so much time together. To be separated now wouldn't make much sense. So, these guys had a couple days off and still find themselves here. So it's good to see from a coach's perspective, and from the players' side. I mean, this is where they want to be anyway. So it's really cool from that standpoint. Just knowing the kind of players that you have in the facility that just constantly want to be around it.
Obviously, the relationships play a big role in that. From a mental standpoint, from that perspective, how are they staying mentally sharp? How are you encouraging them to stay, mentally sharp in addition to staying physically sharp?
Yeah, just that, just being around the game, and being around each other. Because then inevitably, you hang around with a bunch of your teammates. You're eventually, the topic's going to come back to football at some point. So, just staying connected to the game, and just understanding the work that's ahead of us. And I think there's quite a buzz around the building and what that looks like for us coming up here. But yeah, you can't be too far detached from it because it's full gas from here on out.
I know we don't really want to talk about guys that aren't inside the locker room right now with the Roughriders, but there are players with attachments to the organization that have done some special things recently. Up in Saskatoon, for example, Daniel Wiebe, who I think made a statement at training camp, goes ahead and sets a school record for touchdown receptions in a single season and in a career. Have you been following him? Have you watched his progression, and what have you seen if you have?
Yeah, I actually got a chance to catch the game between the Huskies and the Rams. And I texted Daniel after the game and congratulated him. And he ended up getting making a big play at the end of that game, and certainly just following and hearing, the season that he's having. And it's no shock. I mean, that's the reason why we drafted him, right? So incredibly proud of him. I know, football in Saskatchewan is awesome right now. Both of the universities are playing at a high level, going to compete for something special. And obviously what we got going on here took in some of the Thunder and the Hilltops game yesterday. Football is alive in the province right now. So, Daniel's certainly a household name when it comes to this sport in this province, and rightfully so, man. The kid works his tail off. Reap what you sow, and he's put in a lot of work.
I mean, you said it. It's football is alive and well in this province right now, and damn, that weather's been pretty good too. I'm sure having the crowd or the stands absolutely packed for that West Final makes a real difference for you and the team.
Oh man, I mean, if there's a seat empty, I'm swinging on somebody. I'm telling you, it's just, we pride ourselves as Rider Nation as being the best fan base in the country, and we believe that, man. And looking forward to everybody, showing up and supporting this team. It's been a little bit since Western Final was here. I cannot wait to see and hear the crowd. It's such an advantage for us as a team, having our fan base behind us. So if you're waiting, I'm not sure why, go and get them tickets, be a part of this thing, because we'll need you, and we look forward to it. We do it for Rider Nation. So knowing that, looking forward to them doing it for us too.
Can you explain what that feeling is like? Because you can feel the energy, but I can't describe it.
Yeah, I mean, we make a play, and it's completely electric. You could feel it running through your body. From a player's standpoint, it does. It gives you a little bit of extra juice. In crucial situations, when the opposing offense is on the field, whether you're a guy on the field or you're a guy on the sideline trying to get the crowd going, you feel like it's an added player on the field, because that the offense has to deal with that. A lot of things based off of communication. It makes it tough on there. I mean, we should be giving out gift cards or something for every time count penalty they take, or false start or something like that. It's incredible. Labor Day was outstanding. Our crowd was alive during that game, and that certainly helped us. Looking for this to be even more crazy, So here's what I will say, though. The weather has been outstanding. I am praying for the coldest game possible. So dress warm and scream loud.
Speak for yourself, man.
Okay. A couple quick ones before I get to Coach Kent Majarian, whether or not he got his steak or if he's still living on fried chicken. Before I get to that, though, I did want to just, the atmosphere yesterday at Mosaic Stadium, going back to that Hilltop Thunder game, was outstanding. And I thought it was pretty cool that your coaches took a moment to go down and talk to Johnny Stevens and Kenton Effa and Caleb Barajas, who've been around the program all summer long. Tell me what you saw in that game and what those three athletes mean to the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Yeah, those, the local boys, obviously, they put in so much work, and I made a point this week to let the rest of the team know what kind of game was coming up this weekend for those guys, and just have them understand how much work these guys put in to help us as a team. They're out there practicing, working their tails off. Then they're going to another team's practice. Then they got games. Then they got to show up back here. It's a lot, man. And those guys, it means a lot to them. And they're getting so much better. And then with Johnny Stevens, who we call Farmer John. Farmer John he was a locker room favorite, man. The kid just happy as ever and so grateful to be around the team, and is willing to do whatever to better himself and better the team. So, unfortunately, we knew that there was only going to be one team that can walk away with the win. From my standpoint, it was going to be a tough one because, I love all those guys, man. But in the end, I think, the province of Saskatchewan wins. Our football at all levels in this province is top tier, and I think you saw that in that game, and rightfully so. Two really good teams, and took it all the way to the end, plus some, and wish the best to the Hilltops moving forward. But knowing that we're going to get the Thunder guys back in the building, no ill will, man. We know how tough the game is, but those guys put it all out there.
What looks sweeter on film? A Caleb Barajas, offensive lineman for the Regina Thunder touchdown, or a Corey Mace touchdown reception?
Oh, Caleb's way more athletic than I was, so I'm a tip the cap to Caleb, man. Anytime you got offensive, like there's big guy touchdowns, and there's offensive line big guy touchdowns. So you got to give it to them. You got to give it to Caleb.
So when it comes to touchdowns, we saw Jack Cohn in the short yardage specialist game this past weekend, and he got a couple rushing TDs. Is there any update that you're able to provide right now on Tommy Stevens?
Just said everything. He's in that group of everything's trending in the right direction. Obviously, tremendous weapon for us in those short yardage situations. But again, we'll put the best team out there. And if he's not where he needs to be, then we'll have to make a different. Have it go a different route there. But if he is good to go, which things seem to be trending the way that we want, then certainly, he'll be out there. So we'll see. But he's definitely in that group of guys where, the rest and the time off that he's had, he's been attacking his rehab, that we're hoping to get him out there.
What does that say about the guys on your roster, though? We consistently hear that. And again, Aubrey Miller Jr., the latest example of that. Guys willing to do whatever it takes to get back on the field because they care, I would assume.
Yeah, well, and that's it, right? I think we think that this year was going to be, we sensed it was going to be a special one, and if you, as a player, you want to be a part of that, and the best way to be a part of it is to be available to play. So, we're not ignorant to the fact that, injuries do happen in this sport, but how you respond to that will ultimately, dictate if you're going to be available in the future. Unfortunately, a lot of guys who did get hurt missed some time, but, they're working their tails off to see if they can get back to help this team. And it really just it puts us in best favor to have those options, because when healthy, this locker room is filled with tremendous players. So, you'd like to have as many options as possible.
So who you want to face in the West Final? I'm just kidding.
Whoever feels like just giving us one. If any one of those teams just feel like giving us one, we'll take that one. But I don't know if it's going to be that easy.
Does your and I guess the way you watch this weekend change at all, no matter what's coming, or it's just we're just watching what's in front of us and that's what we do?
Yeah. I mean, this is we can't control anything that's going to happen prior to whoever wins the game. So, we can just do our due diligence and trying to prepare for both. But, we'll come together as a team and, we'll take the game in and watch it a little bit, trying to watch it a little bit as a fan, which is almost impossible to do it with a bunch of football minds. You're always going to be watching it with a different kind of lens, but, we'll do that together and we'll see where that leads us. With
Coach Kent, Majori's fried chicken, or is it steak?
Let me think here. I don't know what Kent's telling me about the fried chicken. He likes fried chicken, I can tell you that. But I think we might have some brisket, planned for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Who are you taking in the Jays? Dodgers World Series, Game 3 tonight.
No, man, I'm Canadian through and through.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Coach, appreciate this. As always, I know it's a busy time for you and the staff with the amount of preparation that you're going through. I can't imagine the tape that you're sifting through right now.
Oh, no, yeah. All good. It was a nice little break, but got to get back to it.
Well, enjoy the bye week. We'll see you in the West Final.
Appreciate you guys. See you there.
Thank you so much. Head coach Corey Mace of your Saskatchewan Roughriders, the coach's show for Steelcraft Doors and the Roughrider Foundation 50/50. Plenty of exclusive getaways and unique experiences up for grabs like sports trips, vacation destinations. There's a new early bird prize to be won every game as well. So a variety of ticket packages to buy. You can get them online, riders5050.ca. You have yours yet, Dave?
Yes, I do, because I want to go.
You hesitated. Do you really?
No, I'm on the plan where I'm automatically entered all the time.
Oh, see, that's working smart, not hard. Okay.
See? There you go.
This week's early bird prize, Costa Rica, all-inclusive. Package for two includes flights from Saskatchewan to Liberia, Costa Rica. 7 nights, all-inclusive, staying at a five-star Planet Hollywood. Okay, round-trip transfers from the airport to the hotel, so you don't need to worry about all that nonsense. Or you can just take $9,000 in cash if you don't want an all-inclusive trip. Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Deadline is Wednesday, November 5th at 5 p.m., riders5050.com. And, of course, this is the Sports Cage brought to you by Kellen Solar. Installing solar in residential and commercial buildings for 35 years, local and trusted. Kellen Solar. Visit kellensolar.com. Your clutch performer is coming up next. It's Tegan Whitco and Dave Thomas on the Sports Cage, the home of Rider Nation, on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.
Listen weekdays at noon for Saskatchewan Today on CKRM with your host, Ryan Young, offering the most extensive agricultural news coverage with precision weather meteorologists in an industry that moves fast. Stay updated with the latest, most reliable information in ag news, crisis and trends, all in one place. Available anytime at saskagtoday.com. Saskatchewan Today, your trusted source for all things agriculture. Sponsored by Affinity Credit Union on 620 CKRM.
The postal strike has thrown a monkey wrench into the world-famous Keniston Superdraft. If you're waiting for your forms and they don't show up, head over to superdraft.com and print them off today. There's still $90,000 in total cash prizes to be won in the world-famous draft. Don't miss out. And yes, the Super 8 is back. Don't wait for the mail. Hit up superdraft.com. Find some buddies and get in on some real NHL pool action with the Keniston Superdraft. Deadline is October 28th, 8 p.m. Central Time.
Lots of people out there are worried that they're running out of time. Hi, I'm Brian Golly. The average 50-year-old has roughly 15 years left to maximize investment returns before they start to draw their retirement income. You know that GIC rates won't get you where you need to be. You need a solid investment plan, and you need it now.
Invest with confidence and make smart investment decisions. Get Brian Golly working for you and build a solid investment plan that you can rely on. Call Brian at 546-2533 today.
Elevate your baling experience with the Heston by Massey Ferguson 1 Series Round Baler. With a dependable, long-lasting design for challenging conditions and high-speed baling, this machine features swing-away net loading and an optional hydraulic drop floor for easy obstruction clearing. Quality hay production starts today with Heston by Massey Ferguson. See the Massey Ferguson 1 Series Round Baler at Nick's Service in Emerald Park. For more information, visit nicksservice.com.
Get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
Meet Todd. It's noon. He's really hungry, and his stomach makes sure to let him know it.
Todd, we talked about this. No more skipping meals. I need cheese. I need crust. I need Western Pizza.
All right. Western Pizza it is.
Western Pizza. Dine in or take out today before your stomach starts making demands.
And get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
The Sports Cage Clutch Performer for Nick's Service in Emerald Park. Your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fendt dealer. Call 781-1077.
It's Tegan Whitco, Dave Thomas, and Curtis. behind the board right now. It is time for your clutch performer. So I'm going to go first because it's my first time hosting the show.
Fair call.
I'm also going to take the biggest clutch performer or clutch performers of the day. I want to give a shout out to every single person who touched or participated in putting together that successful bid to bring the 2027 Grey Cup to Regina, second time in 5 years.
That's incredible, right?
Yeah, that's insane.
And it's not
can
like...
you beat that?
Well, no, it's tough. Not in volume for sure, but mine would be Isaiah Valderuten, who was a receiver for the Saskatoon Hilltops. Not only did he make the touchdown reception with 31 seconds to go, then he caught the 2-point convert to tie the game, then he caught the go-ahead touchdown. So I would give it to Isaiah from the Hilltops. Regina Thunder, though, should be proud of the season. Defending champs, they were in it all the way.
Absolutely. And then for our third and final clutch performer, Curtis. Do you have one that you'd like to share with us? Oh, no, he's shaking. You know what? He is the clutch performer. We're going to go with that, okay? That's Curtis's pick. Coming up next, we are going to speak with Rider President and CEO Craig Reynolds. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports, the 620 CKRM. Sportscage.com as well is where you can watch us. That's the thing.
Hey, farmers and ranchers, do you want the next generation to know and care more about agriculture? Donate to the Acres for Education campaign by Agriculture in the Classroom Saskatchewan to help get students out of the classroom to experience agriculture. This year, every dollar donated will be matched up to $25,000 thanks to JGL, so your gift will make twice the difference. Donate at aitc.sk.ca/Acres for Education.
Football's in full swing, hockey's heating up, and the baseball playoffs are just around the corner. There's only one place you need to be, Pop Jack's Cathedral. Catch every game on the big screens with 30 beers on tap, Wing Wednesdays, and Pop Jack's famous pub-style beer-battered fish and chips. Or go big with a full rack of ribs. You've earned it. Live sports, cold beer, hot food on the corner of Albert and 13th. Pump Jack's Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. Come early, stay late. The place where friends meet.
The Rough Rider Foundation's 50-50 is heating up. And the early bird prize for the West Final is a week in sunny Costa Rica. Or $9,000 cash. But don't wait. The deadline is 5 p.m. November 6th. You could be cheering in paradise. Or cheering here with a wallet full of winnings. Don't get hit with regret. Buy your 50-50 tickets early at riders5050.ca and go Riders!
Riders 50/50 is presented by ISC. Lottery license LR250011.
The postal strike has thrown a monkey wrench into the world-famous Keniston Superdraft. If you're waiting for your forms and they don't show up, head over to superdraft.com and print them off today. There's still $90,000 in total cash prizes to be won in the world-famous draft. Don't miss out. And yes, the Super 8 is back. Don't wait for the mail. Hit up superdraft.com. Find some buddies and get in on some real NHL pool action with the Keniston Superdraft. Deadline is October 28th, 8 p.m. Central Time.
Don't miss a minute of Sports Cage. Podcasts are posted at sportscage.com. 620 CKRM.
It's Tegan Whitco and Dave Thomas with you on the Sports Cage. Feel free to join us on YouTube, sportscage.com, and of course right here on 620 CKRM. I'm Tegan, as I mentioned, with Dave Thomas, and we have Curtis behind the board here keeping us in line. And now a guest joining us, Mr. Craig Reynolds of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, of course, President and CEO. Thanks for joining us. You've had a long day.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's a long day, but exciting day.
Yeah, kind of an announcement that took place this morning. 2027 Grey Cup coming to Regina. How did that feel to announce?
Yeah, it felt great. We had known for a little bit, so it's also good to just get that information out there as we're talking about off air. But yeah, it's just so exciting for our fans and for the province. You know, economic impact, like bringing an event of that magnitude to the province is so huge. But just really excited for Rider Nation to be able to host again twice in 5 years is pretty special, and it's a testament to the facilities we have here as well that allows us to do that.
And this guy, if you're watching the stream, sportscage.com, he's already has the 27SK logo on his sweater. Tell us how that came to be.
Yeah, so this is actually the sweater. I don't know. Oh, yeah, there we go. It's actually the sweater that we got specially made because you have to do a bid presentation. You have to present your Grey Cup bid to the CFL, to the Commissioner, Stuart Johnston, and there's actually a selection committee. And so we had these specially made. We obviously like to talk about how much merch we sell and how much merch is important to us. And so the entire team that did that presentation had these on, and so we got to keep these, but I couldn't wear it because we had to keep the secret. So I put this on just on the way in here this afternoon.
And speaking of keeping it secretive, you mentioned you may or may not have had to lie to a couple people to keep this under wraps until it was ready.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a full-on lie, but yeah, I had to deflect. Let's call it deflect a fair bit, because we had some people involved in obviously who had written letters of support, and they started asking me even last week, when are we going to find out, and obviously I knew that we had both won the award, or were going to be awarded it, but also that we were announcing it this Monday. So I kind of figured I'll deflect for one more week, and then they'll know.
Well, I mean, to your credit, to Ariel's credit, everybody that was part of this team, it was definitely kept under wraps until this morning. And that makes it more exciting for people, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It really does. Like when you could sort of have a surprise like that's really impactful, like hosting the Grey Cup is. I think that's great. For Monday morning, we had a great turnout at the announcement, and a lot of people came there specifically because they were very curious about what we were going to announce. And so hopefully get a little buzz with that, and this type of announcement deserves that, because it's just such a big event.
Okay, the bid process, we're modest in Saskatchewan. It's tough to brag about ourselves, right? So how do you go in front of a committee or a panel and brag about what you do, and what do you say?
That's so funny you said that, Dave, because actually that was my opening line in the bid presentation, because I talked about people from Saskatchewan being hard-working, volunteerism is important. And I said the other thing about people from Saskatchewan, we're naturally humble. And I said, so this is very hard for us to come here and tell you why you should bring the Grey Cup. But if I could ask you, we're going to park that humility just for an hour here, and we're going to talk about our world-class facilities, and talk about our world-class, organization, and especially our world-class fan base. And so that's how we presented it. It's very hard for us to do this, but we've got to do this because we've got to win this bid.
So you look at the bid, and boy, there's so many different components to ensuring that all of Rider Nation is activated, whether you be in Foam Lake, in Weyburn, in Saskatoon. The whole Rider Nation gets an opportunity to experience it, right?
Yeah, provincial element's huge, and we always point to that. In the bid process, that this is different when the Grey Cup comes to Saskatchewan, because it's not coming to Regina, it's coming to the entire province, and also it's a year-long celebration here. And so, we've gone to communities in the past. I think we'll have some planning around that as well in the lead up to the Grey Cup. We absolutely are going to host events in Saskatoon, just like we did in 2022. They were very successful. We hosted a youth rally up there, a big pancake breakfast. We had this Highway 11 Cup run, where we brought the Grey Cup down to Regina. So events similar to that are going to happen as well, so we can engage the whole province.
Give us a little look behind the scenes, maybe, when it comes to this bid process. How long had you been working on this? How many pages was that document?
Yeah, I should have looked, actually, but it's well over, I think it's 150 plus. It's certainly over 100. It's a long process. So it really kicks off. You have to have an expression of interest as the first step, and so the league wants to know, are you interested in hosting the Grey Cup? And so we went through that. Are we interested we asked ourselves that exact same question, started talking to some key stakeholders at the province and the city, and so we determined that yes, we were we did want to express interest, and then you get working on the bid. So it essentially took all summer. So we started late June, early July, and the bid was due I think the second Friday of September.
So when the evaluation process is happening and you're presenting to everyone that's involved, there's also a lot of people that go into the actual bid, right? It's just not two people standing in front of a microphone.
No, definitely not. So you have a ton of stakeholders that write letters of support or are somehow involved in building the bid. So Tourism Regina was very helpful. Regina's Hotels Association were also extremely helpful, because you have to outline your hotel plan and what hotels you would recommend for the various winners and then for the CFL, those types of things. And then within our team at the Riders, you need your finance, you need ticketing, you need marketing, you need retail, you need our partnerships folks, and then key partners as well. Like, we reached out to some of our partners for letters of support, as an indication to the CFL that, our partners are behind this bid as well. So, and then the bid process itself, where you're actually pitching. We brought a team of about 5.
November the 7th.
Early.
Yeah, 2027 is the date. Now, of course, if you look outside, what do we need to worry about that? But even if November 7th is inclement, you're going to have an opportunity, because a lot of festivities are indoors.
Yeah, so that was one of the things we took from 2022, and in the bid, that's what we wanted to do. What really worked well in 2022, let's replicate that and continue to do that, because that was really popular with our fans. And then what would be changed, because it just didn't play out the way we wanted to. And one of the things we thought about there was the Street Fest. And we have some new buildings and facilities at Real that we're able to now use. The Ivana Center we didn't really use during Grey Cup, and that's huge. It's like 7,000 square feet or something like that. And so, because we didn't want to lose the big activations. Like I don't know if you guys remember, but we had that big tube slide in 2022, and that was really popular. But what we found was we could move all that indoors and still have a big activation, whether it's a tube slide or a zip line or something like that. You can still do that. And so that was our when we found that, we said, well, let's take the weather equation out of it. And we had music on the outdoor stage. Well, we can do that inside as well at various locations throughout the Real property. So just outstanding facilities, and we're able to do that for the first time ever.
Are there any other lessons that you took from 2022 that you're looking to apply with this 2027 Grey Cup? Yeah,
a few things we want to replicate. So I think the focus on youth and families, like we had Gainers, I think it's called Gainers Heartland. I don't know if you guys had an opportunity to go through that, but it was just outstanding, like for little kids. Yep. And it gets them exposed to the big event and how great that big event was, and then gets the families, which is obviously a key focus for us to build future fans. So I know the youth-focused activities we really want to make sure we continue to do. And again, the other part I touched on it earlier is the provincial aspect to it. Being engaged in Saskatoon in a meaningful way, like actually host events up there, have the cup up there. Those were really important things we want to continue.
I was asked today, and it never really dawned on me that November 7th, basically the season would have to start about a week earlier than what we look at right now. Is that a Saskatchewan Roughrider request that, hey, we want to host the Grey Cup, but we'd like it 1 week earlier, or is that a CFL? How does that work?
No, it's a CFL decision, and actually I think it's fair to say that when we actually bid on 2 dates. We said we could do it on a couple of dates, and then as we started working with the CFL around finalizing the announcement and the dates, ultimately the decision was made to set the date 1 week earlier. And you're right, it will require some adjustment, but it's not 2 or 3 weeks. It's something that we can handle. But we are also super supportive, we being the Roughriders, around shifting the season and eliminating some of the weather concerns.
Those late November games can be really cold.
Yeah, they can be really, and I mentioned this in the media, Dave, well, both of you were there, but like you think about 2013, it could have been scary if had the game been played on Saturday, or that weather from Saturday being on Sunday, because that parade was, I think it was like minus 36, minus 40 with a wind chill, and so you think about trying to play a football game in that environment. So
balls would shatter as you try to kick a field goal.
I've seen that happen in a university game before when a ball exploded on the sideline, Vanier Cup in Saskatoon, when the punter was warming up.
Really? Yeah. Interesting.
It was not
fun. It
can
happen.
No.
It was not fun. When you look at today's announcement, one of the other things that to me stood out, and it was a repeated message over and over again, was showing off the facility that is Mosaic Stadium. And if I draw upon my own limited experience, I had an opportunity to speak with a new Rough Rider at training camp in Saskatoon, and I said, what would attract you to playing at Saskatchewan? And he said, they showed me the facilities. And I'm like, really? That was the difference maker. How much of an impact in what the Saskatchewan Roughriders do does Mosaic Stadium have?
It's huge. Like, that's a great example with our players. We hear that time and time again. One of our best recruitment tools is they actually, Corey will FaceTime them and walk them through the facility, and they're just really impressed because it's just an impressive facility. But I'll go back to the bid in the Grey Cup. Our tagline on the bid was, "We're built for this," and it meant a few things. But one of the things was that Mosaic Stadium was built for exactly this, to host Grey Cups more often than once every 9 years. Because I used the word earlier today, it's turnkey. Like, it's just an amazing facility. You have all the amenities you could possibly need. It can accommodate the full media complement you need for a Grey Cup. You have incredible hosting space for the commissioner and commissioner's guests. You have a number of suites in the AGT lounge where you've got indoor opportunities for fans to warm up. So it's just an outstanding facility, and I think one of the major reasons why we were successful and won the 2027 Grey Cup bid.
Saskatchewan Roughriders president and CEO Craig Reynolds joining us right now on the Sports Cage. Now, of course, the announcement this morning, 2027 Grey Cup is coming back to Saskatchewan. That is also the same season. Not only are we going to have the Grey Cup a week earlier, that's one change, but there's also a few other changes that will be implemented in that season. So how does it feel to be part of a historic Grey Cup as well?
Yeah, you know what? I honestly hadn't really thought about that, and that may sound silly, but when I thought about it was because I saw somebody had mentioned that the Grey Cup in Calgary, the 2026, was going to be the last Grey Cup with, the goalposts where they're at. And so that immediately, recognizing, knowing that we're hosting 2027, I'm like, oh man, that's going to be the first year. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, that's something that, came up quite honestly mid-bid. As we were preparing the bid, we were made aware of the rule changes. So yeah, that'll be interesting. It will be a historic Grey Cup, the first under a new set of rules.
I thought it was interesting today is tourism and entertainment dollars are hard to come by, right? Like when you get something like this, it's such a coup, and that's what Mayor Bashinsky here said, and I understand that's what Mayor Block up in Saskatoon said, was getting an opportunity just to showcase what we can do with tourism. Is that a partnership that obviously works?
Yeah, it does. And Tourism Regina and the City of Saskatoon were both outstanding as it relates to the bid because, yeah, it is the single biggest sports day in Canada. And you get 7, 8, hopefully more, eyeballs on your city at the actual game. And you're showcasing your stadium. You're showcasing the pride that everybody has in Canadian football. And obviously, so much media attention the entire week. And so it is basically a big advertisement for your city and for tourism and the facilities. It's not only the stadium, the facilities are real. You go to the ITC and the Ivana Center and Brand Center, like places we're going to use. People come from all over Canada and see the quality of facilities we have here. So it does nothing but help.
I don't know if you're going to be surprised by the first text message question that I got after the announcement. I thought for sure when I saw the person who it was, I'm like, they want to get tickets already. And I'm like, yeah, okay. It wasn't. The first question that I got was, do you know when they're going to be starting to ask for volunteers? Like, how Saskatchewan is that?
Very much so. Yeah. No, and I had some people in the announcement come up to me afterwards with the same thing. How do I get involved? Have you guys set a volunteer host organizing committee yet? And yeah, so we're so excited about the announcement. We're going to park most things Grey Cup now and focus in on the West Final and the season, and then we're going to pick it up again in December. And as one of the first things was thinking about our volunteer needs because we got I think a really good bid that the team worked on really hard all summer. But my experience with the 2020 bid is it got way better once we got the volunteers involved because they bring their own ideas and their own excitement and their own passion and suddenly you've taken the ideas we started with, and now they're even that much better.
And I know that membership has its privileges, right? And I know that the season ticket members get some real cool perks throughout the course of the season, which I think is pretty unique and pretty interesting. But also they'll be taken care of when it comes to Grey Cup, right?
Yeah, absolutely. More details to come, but first and foremost, they'll have first access to their seats and to seats in general. But they will have seats at lower than what the general public's gonna pay for a Grey Cup ticket. So yeah, we're very happy to do that. We did that in 2022 and we had huge uptick from our season ticket members. They really respond to going to Grey Cups at Mosaic.
So I'm assuming it's safe to say it's too early to ask whether or not the CFL has booked Chapel Roan for the halftime?
Yeah, it's a little too early, but I know I mentioned the scrub. I'm happy that's Commissioner Johnston's responsibility, not ours. Yeah, it's because that's a challenge. Halftimes and again halftime. It's very difficult to get halftime everybody can agree on.
Oh, it's never going to happen. Are you kidding?
Ice. No. I still remember 1995. And the huddle up in Saskatchewan, and I thought that was so Saskatchewan.
Yeah, it was. Right? So, yeah, it was awesome. That was a great tagline.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, 2027, the countdown is on. I do have a question, and I hope that I can pose it to you from Tim on the text line. And the question is, can we get those co-op tickets for the West Final?
Absolutely, you can. Yeah, they're moving fast. I think they're half sold out right now, but you absolutely can. Yeah, you go to any co-op in the province, and you'll be able to get tickets for $20 all in to the West Final.
I don't mean to be putting you on the spot here, but do you know percentage-wise how many tickets are left for that West Final at this point?
It's pacing very well. I don't have an exact number, but I know Peel Country's almost sold out. There's less than 100 tickets available in Peel Country, and I know we are selling a lot of tickets on a daily basis, so they are moving very, very quickly. We're pacing very well. I'm excited about where we're at.
I imagine after the West semifinal this weekend, they're going to go pretty fast once we know who the Riders are playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to call out any fans from Foam Lake, but I feel I need to. 'Cause I know that they're... Well, no, it's true. I know that they're pretty excited about the idea that they might get to tailgate around the stadium.
Especially Foam Lake.
Yeah. Well, and, I'm sure you know who I'm speaking of right about now.
I do.
And we're both going to be in
There's
trouble.
Several, yeah.
What can you explain what that looks like or might look like, or what the discussion is at, or how it happens, I guess.
Yeah, we're excited. So we approached the province on that in the late winter, early spring, around that being the number one piece of feedback we get from our fans around, why can't we have tailgating? Can we have tailgating at Mosaic Stadium? So we started, designing what operationally that might look like, and reached out to some of our counterparts, or around what. How do you do it? What works? What doesn't work? And so we envision that, in the parking lot, and the traditional sort of people bring their own barbecues, they bring their coolers, they bring their music, families get together and just, enjoy the pregame festivities. And we know in other markets, they start early, they get there really, really early, stake their spot. So, again, it's another thing where it'll be just exclusive to our season ticket members. They'll have their first crack at that opportunity, and we've heard it's hard to get something that universally everybody's excited about, and this is one that everybody I talk to is just universally excited about this as an option.
So you're saying there's a chance there could be people body slamming fold up tables in the 2027
You never know. Like if we follow the Buffalo Bills model, maybe.
It's funny, I talk to different people. They just want more gainers, so I don't know. Maybe
that too. So those are the top. So number one would be tailgating, and number two would be more gainer.
Wow.
So,
again, you're never going to please everybody, Craig.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
No. So if we can get more gainer at the tailgating, then we're really
Man, two birds,
cooking
one
with gas.
There you go. All right, Craig Reynolds, 2027 Grey Cup coming to Saskatchewan. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate being here too.
Yeah, appreciate you taking the time to come in here. I know it's been a long day. So, of course, this is the Sports Cage. We're going to take a quick break and come back on the other side. This is the home of local sports and your Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 and streaming on sportscage.com.
October is Customer Appreciation Month at Extreme Hockey and Umbrella Marketing. It's pretty easy. Just submit your receipt for your corporate or team apparel order, and you could be one of the lucky winners at month end to receive up to $1,000 back towards your purchase. Locally owned, community-oriented, and customer-focused. And of course, don't forget about their price match guarantee. Extreme Hockey and Sport, Umbrella Marketing, 1425 McIntyre Street, and conveniently located in the Cooperator Center.
Freeze Tallman wants you to get her done before the winter. They can save you time and hassle by delivering your building materials directly to your home or cottage. They have siding, roofing, brown-treated lumber, composite decking, aluminum railing, fencing, everything you need to finish your outdoor building projects before snow falls. Visit freezetallman.com or see them in Regina or Fort Capel. Freeze Tallman. Let's get you building.
The postal strike has thrown a monkey wrench into the world-famous Keniston Superdraft. If you're waiting for your forms and they don't show up, head over to superdraft.com and print them off today. There's still $90,000 in total cash prizes to be won in the world-famous draft. Don't miss out. And yes, the Super 8 is back. Don't wait for the mail. Hit up superdraft.com. Find some buddies and get in on some real NHL pool action with the Keniston Superdraft. Deadline is October 28th, 8 p.m. Central Time.
The name you know and trust has moved closer to you. Mainline Motors is now only 30 minutes away. The amazing deals and award-winning service is now at your doorstep. Mainline Motors, a proud Saskatchewan name for generations, is here to serve your every need with a huge selection of new and pre-owned with prices that won't be beat. Do your wallet a favor and call Southie Mainline today, 306-726-2060, or check us out online, southeymainline.ca. Worth the drive every time, guaranteed.
The 620 CKRM Country Corner is brought to you by Glasses TV, your Sastel authorized dealer, and Foster's Audio Video in Carlisle. Get the newest cell phone today with an amazing Sastel rate plan.
The very first I Love Regina Pats game is Tuesday, November 4th as the Pats clash with the Calgary Hitmen. Tickets up to 60% off. Check out the pregame party at the AgX building starting at 5. Puck drop at 7. Head to our website event page to grab your tickets. The Carmichael Comedy Night is coming up Thursday, November 6th at the Casino Regina Show Lounge. Enjoy top-notch comedy while supporting Carmichael Outreach in their mission to fight poverty and homelessness. CarmichaelOutreach.ca. And take in a great night of Canadian country music with Terry Clark and Paul Brandt at the Connexus Arts Center, Friday, November 14th. The show gets underway at 7:30. Stop by the box office or get your tickets at connexusartscenter.ca.
For more information, visit 620ckrm.com. It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sports, Regina's locally owned one-stop hockey shop. Now with a price match guarantee. 1425 McIntyre Street.
It's Tegan Whitco here, your Monday host of the Sports Cage. Not to worry, Barney's going to be back tomorrow, but I'm joined by Dave Thomas today. Let's take a look at what's on the slate for tonight. Toronto Blue Jays, Los Angeles Dodgers. 6 o'clock, or 6:08 first pitch, I should say. Of course, that series all evened up at a game apiece in the best of 7. Tonight, Scherzer gets a start for the Jays. Glasnow for the Dodgers as well. So let's see here. Oh, I should also mention, we brought this up earlier in a conversation on the Sports Cage, but it's a tall order for the Toronto Blue Jays considering the Dodgers' home record this season, 52-29.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, so hopefully the Jays fans travel well down to LA.
I'd be curious how many we're going to see. I know a handful of people that are going.
I feel like the vast majority of Canadians, though, are just by default Jays fans, or they rock Expo gear. So I feel like anybody who's
Sure.
Canadian and lives in LA or in the surrounding area, plus, I mean, they'll travel decently well. But yeah, it's going to be a doozy. I'm excited for this one tonight. National Football League Week 8, we got Washington Commanders at Kansas City Chiefs. That is 6:15.
I heard the New York Jets won a game this weekend for the first time. Did anybody else hear that? Isn't somebody here I know cheers for Cincinnati or something like
You know what? I would rather talk about how atrocious looking the Steelers uniforms were. We do not need to go down that rabbit hole. That one hurt, okay? The season's a wash. Even if we had Joe Burrow in, I say we like I play for the team. Even if the Bengals had Joe Burrow in, the defense would have messed that game up anyway. Sorry, we got to go quickly here. NHL, you got Boston in Ottawa, 5:30 there. So coming up here in just about 30 minutes. And then NBA Raptors in San Antonio, 6 o'clock. That is the Sports Ticker.
We are the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM Regina, a Harvard media station.
It's 5 o'clock. Good evening. I'm Corey Atkinson from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with your 620 CKRM News for Echo Sound and for Coupel. Stay connected with the new cell phone from Echo Sound. Call 306-332-6711. The CFL announced today that the 2027 Grey Cup will be held in Regina. League Commissioner Stuart Johnston says the city's staunch support of the Saskatchewan Roughriders makes it the perfect host.
The Roughriders' commitment to excellence on and off the field, their deep community roots, and the unwavering support of their fans make them the perfect host for the league's greatest celebration.
This year's Grey Cup will be held next month in Winnipeg. A third person has been charged in connection with a homicide earlier this month in Regina. Around 4:30 a.m. on October 13th, police responded to a call on College Avenue and found a deceased man. Investigators ruled the death a homicide. 20-year-old Marshall Cote is now charged with second-degree murder and appeared in court today. Tony Moffat, 22, and Andre Smith, 24, were charged last week with the same offense and made their first court appearances on October 23rd. A business in Regina is making a big jump into the market in Saskatoon. Avana will be building a new development in Saskatoon. More from Sask Today's John Cairns.
A Regina-based property company is now making a big move into the Saskatoon market. Avana already has multifamily rental properties in Regina and Edmonton. Now they are expanding to Saskatoon with 600 units, starting with townhomes in Aspen Ridge and Evergreen. Brent Schoberg, president of Havana, explains what they have planned.
It will be, similar products to what we've done elsewhere. It's the townhome style with a number of the units, part of each project, have an affordable component to them as well.
The Aspen Ridge development in northeast Saskatoon will have 146 units. There will be 108 in Evergreen. This is just the first phase. Schoberg says the first rentals will be on the market in late 2025 or by 2026. For SAS Today, I'm John Cairns.
The City of Regina has appointed Patricia Farnese as its new Integrity Commissioner starting on January 1st. She replaces Angela Kruk, whose term ends on December 31st. Farnese has more than 20 years of legal experience, including work with the University of Saskatchewan, various levels of government, and Regina's legal department. She says she's honored to support council in upholding ethical standards. The Integrity Commissioner investigates possible breaches of the Code of Ethics bylaw and offers advice to council members. Her term runs until 2029. And Melissa has become a Category 5 hurricane and is approaching Jamaica. Reporter Sophie Flay has more.
Melissa has already claimed multiple lives in the Caribbean, including 3 in Haiti, where the storm flooded streets and destroyed homes. It also left a trail of destruction across the Dominican Republic. In Florida, volunteers have been preparing aid boxes containing food and other basic necessities to help families across the Caribbean.
Melissa is forecast to make landfall on the island tomorrow and cross Cuba and the Bahamas through Wednesday. That was your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Weather is next.
This fall, there's something strange in your kid's backpack.
No signal.
Back in my day, we busted ghosts. Now we bust bad cell plans. That's why I go to Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer. They've got the latest phones, data plans, internet, and Max TV Stream, and way less slime. Your phone just tried to FaceTime a ghost? Who are you going to call? Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Fort Qu'Appelle. EchoSound.ca.
Weather for Linex Regina. Serious protection, killer looks, 1865 McCarra Street, and Croft Electric. 27 years of trusted, reliable home, farm, and commercial service for all electrical needs. CroftElectric.com and all socials.
Mainly clear sky for tonight after a couple of early clouds. Temperatures back down to near or just below the freezing mark. We'll look for a low near -1. The winds have been up a little bit through the day, backing down into the 15 to 25 range and staying on the lower end of that for a fair portion of the night. It's not as mild on Tuesday. Still a mostly sunny sky, but we fall back to around 9 as the wind goes into the west-northwest and stays there through the day, 20 to 35 kilometers per hour. Clear sky, -3 for the low Tuesday night. And for Wednesday, mostly sunny sky with cloud cover increasing. Watch for some showers to come in, likely into the nighttime, but a slight chance before the day is out. The high near 10. Showers likely Wednesday night. And then they ease up on Thursday. Cloud cover thins a little bit through the day, the high around 6. And we're still in and out of cloud cover with pretty average temperatures into Friday, the high near 5. With your 620 CKRM weather forecast, I'm Precision Weather meteorologist Phil Spivak.
For 40 years, the team from Linex Regina has been protecting vehicles across Saskatchewan, and we're changing with the times. 3 generations of our family have protected your vehicles. Our business has evolved, and we're not stopping now. The next generation is here. Same family, same commitment, ready for the next generation of truck beds, rocker panels, trailers, bumpers, and running boards in all kinds of colors. Linex Regina, 1865 McCarra Street, the next generation of protective coatings.
Dan at Croft Electric explains the 3 levels of electric service they typically supply to customers.
Number 1, you need to do it now. There's something really bad that we need to fix. Number 2, this should get fixed soon, but it doesn't, it's not an immediate emergency. And number 3 is the nice to have, should be done eventually kind of stuff.
For reliable, professional electrical work for your farm, see Croft Electric.
Do it right, do it once.
CroftElectric.com.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar. 35 years of experience. Moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit KellenSolar.com to find out more about your livestock operation. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
It's Tegan Whitco here, your Monday host of the Sports Cage, alongside Dave Thomas and, of course, the wonderful Curtis behind the board, keeping us on the radio. Feel free to join the show, by the way. You can always reach out to us by calling or texting 306-936-6262, the Prairie Land Rentals text line, of course. Now, we are going to be jumping right into our next segment, because I understand that we have a guest standing by.
It's time for Double Talk with Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Darian Durant. Double Talk is brought to you by Campbell Safety Consulting. At Campbell Safety Consulting, we work towards helping companies create a competitive edge by executing a proactive health and safety program.
And there he is, the one and only Darian Durant, joining us. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
I'm not sure, I'm assuming you heard the news, but a pretty big announcement made here in Regina this morning. The 2027 Grey Cup is returning to Saskatchewan. You're familiar with Grey Cups here in the province, but they've moved it up by a week. It's going to be early November now. Did you like playing cold weather football?
I love cold weather football. That's football weather to me. I hate the heat. It's sweaty. The ball gets slippery. So whenever it's cold, you can depend on the run game. You can depend on the ball being the right temperature, everything you need. So I'm a cold weather guy all the way. So I love it.
And would you have said the same thing in 2013 after that Grey Cup? Because it was freezing.
Well, the week was freezing. I mean, It was like minus 20, minus 30 all week. And then miraculously on game day, it was like minus 2. So that's amazing. I don't know about the minus 30, though. It's tough to play in that.
It's a little extreme.
Darian,
for sure.
I remember growing up, I had an uncle that once used to always say, I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. How much pressure are the Saskatchewan Roughriders going to face in 2027 like you did in 2013 to get into that game?
Well, I'll just be honest with you. It really depends on what happens in 2025 and 2026. If the Riders can get a Grey Cup this year or next year, then the pressure's off. But to get the Western Final at home this year and to not be able to get in the Grey Cup and win it, or either next year, that would put so much pressure on the squad. It's tough to be in that situation. But if we can get one this year or next year, then it won't be as tough.
Okay, so I had the opportunity to be on the sideline for that game. Again, there's a lot of memories from that game, from the team storming out onto the field to, sorry to bring this up, Darian, the fumble that landed into Corey Sheets' arms. But the one memory, the thing that stands out that I'll never forget, you were in a toque, end of the game, and you see Getzlaff. And you give Chris one of the biggest, most sincere hugs that I've ever seen. What sticks out for you in that game? Do you remember that hug?
Absolutely. I remember just embracing the guys who we've been through the trials and tribulations of losing Grey Cups, the heartbreak of 2009, to going back in 2010 and losing again to, when you look back and you lose to a legend like Calvillo, it kind of eases the pain just a little bit. But 2009 was just devastating. So all of the guys who went through that season with us, the way we lost that Grey Cup, and to finally get it and to get it at home. I wanted to embrace those guys first and foremost, because to go from heartbreak and then the ultimate triumph is just the best feeling in the world.
Was there a play in the game that you knew that you were going to win? And did you get a moment to just absorb that crowd?
Well, you brought it up, the fumble. I mean, whenever you fumble, the ball pops up in the air and your guy can pick it up and run for 30 yards and a first down, and then you ultimately score on that drive. That's when I kind of had a feeling, okay, tonight may be our night because, when the football gods are on your side and you fumble, and especially the fumble was in our territory. So if Hamilton recovers that fumble and they go on to score, now we're down. There's no telling how that could have turned out. So for it to go our way, the football gods to be on our side, that's when I knew.
That 2013 Grey Cup is certainly one for the history books. It was so iconic in so many ways, hosting at home, winning at home, being the final season at Taylor Field, the old Mosaic Stadium, right? So this 2027 Grey Cup will also be historic in its own right. It'll be the first full season with all of the rule changes now in place. So maybe give us your take on that.
Yeah, I think that's a critical moment for the league. They finally get to experiment with the new rules being implemented, and then we'll get some feedback from the fans and the players as to how they feel about the rule changes. I think it's kind of like a wait and see process. But I mean, to have the Grey Cup in the best football city in the country is just amazing, and it'll make it 10 times better if the Riders can find a way to get into that game.
Rider Nation being opinionated? What?
Wow.
That's crazy talk.
I think Rider Nation's gearing up for this. You even went to Riderville in 2013, did you not?
I did. I got out of character a little bit that year, and I usually don't make appearances, and I try to stay low key for the most part. But I just wanted to soak up that moment. I mean, it's hard enough to make it to the Grey Cup, but to get a Grey Cup game at home in Saskatchewan, I thought that was a moment when it was made, when it was presented to me, that was just a moment that I couldn't pass up. So it ended up being just a very memorable moment for myself and the fans of Saskatchewan. And, it turned Riderville up to another notch. So it was a great experience for sure. And I'm sure the fans there would say the same thing.
Well, let's bring this into 2025 and the task at hand for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Of course, they're on the bye week right now. And this time next week, they will know who they're facing, be it the Stamps or the Lions. But what did you see in last week's game? Because quite frankly, they didn't have all of their starters in for the entire duration of that game. And the Lions coming in on a bit of a heater, they still made it close.
Yeah, they did. I mean, for BC to be playing for a home playoff game and the Riders to be, playing just to not be rusty, I thought they came out and played well. I mean, to see Trevor be sharp after a week off was very important. I mean, I didn't know how he would fare with the time off. I didn't really understand what Coach Mace's plan was with Trevor moving into the playoffs. So it was good to give him a week off, give him some rest, and then come out, play him for a half, give him some reps. He's 10 for 11, which is awesome. And, whenever you sit out for a while, you can kind of lose the speed of the game, lose the rhythm. So for him to come out in a game was so meaningful for the BC Lions, and then to play well against their starters after a week off, it was very important. And I thought that was huge for Trevor to come out and be able to be efficient before this off week.
Do you think there was a subtle statement sent by the Saskatchewan Roughriders to the BC Lions? Because I thought the Riders, like you said, Darian, fared well when their number ones were in.
Absolutely. I mean, for BC to struggle with a lot of Saskatchewan's backups, it definitely plants a seed in their heads like, man, this will be a tough team to beat with their starters out there. I mean, Trevor played very few snaps. He only had 11 passing attempts. The defense played well without some of their starters. I was glad to see Tavon Campbell get back out there and get some game action and get back into the flow of things. So, if you're BC, you have to be thinking, man, this will be a hard team to come in and beat when they have all their guys, because when they didn't, we struggled. So it's definitely, from a psychological standpoint, something that it definitely will be on their minds.
So if you look at that offense and even the defense, you mentioned the word rhythm. What about in sync? Because when you got guys coming in and out and maybe the game isn't as meaningful as others, did you see that the team was in sync? Like, should Rider Nation be enthused with what they saw?
For sure. I mean, like I said, most of the starters took the week off last week, and we didn't know the plan coming into this final game. You don't want to risk injuries, but at the same time, rust is something that's is real, and you don't want to take too much time off. So I would definitely be encouraged by with the guys coming out playing well, defense coming out against probably the league MOP, and even though he had over 300 yards. They held him to not too many bases. So, if I'm Rider Nation, and even if I'm the Riders, I feel very good about where we are. And if BC happens to come in to Mosaic Stadium next week, then I'll feel good about that. The only thing that I wouldn't be so happy about is if Calgary can somehow go to BC and win, because Calgary seems to have the Riders' number. So, if I'm a Rider fan, and I am a Rider fan, don't let me say that. But if most people need to feel like if BC or should be cheering for BC to go get this win this weekend.
Okay, we're coming back to that thought in a moment. I just want one more back for the Riders BC game this last week. Your guy, Luke Mullender, looked like he was going to run out of air because he held his breath so hard. He's no Darian Durant, but Trevor Harris scampers for double-digit yards and a first down before bailing. But I don't know, were you holding your breath on that one too?
Oh, for sure, man. I mean, over the past couple of years, we've seen Trevor take some big hits. And, I was just glad to see him protect himself, stay out of harm's way. But we're definitely holding our breath for the entire 10 seconds it took him to run 5 yards. So, And that's a little joke to Trevor. I know he hears that a lot. But yeah, I mean, it's just good for him to get out there, get moving, and not take any major hits and get back into a rhythm of things.
So before we get to the semifinal, like the West semifinal next week, I want to ask what your bye weeks looked like. Obviously, with the Riders clinching first in the West Division, they get the bye, and then they jump right into the West Final at home, which is huge. How are you spending those kind of rewarded bye weeks? Were you crushing fun-sized chocolate bars and Pilsners on the couch, or how did you stay game ready?
No, not at all. You can't take it that far, even though I would have loved to do that. But, I think the first week is all about yourself, right? You want to make sure that you're preparing, your playbook, the things that you need to work on. You can't really go into that week trying to prepare for both teams, because then mentally it could get very draining. So as far as preparing for the next game, you want to wait and see how it plays out, see who wins, and then you can put your head down and go hard towards that team. But the very first week, it's all about yourself. You want to make sure you get your conditioning in, make sure that you're taking care of your body, you getting the therapy and treatment that you need to get to make sure you're 100% or as close to 100% as possible. But the very first week is just all about yourself and the team, and making sure you can kind of hone in on the things that you need to work on.
Well, and quite frankly, we've heard it 1,000 times. At this point in the season, nobody is 100% healthy, right? So is it also kind of a mental game?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you try to fight through as many injuries as you can, and luckily with the bye, you give guys an extra week to rest up and to heal up and to get some of those nicks and knacks healed up. So like you said, 18-game season, very, very physical season. No one's 100% at this point, so the bye week definitely helps the body, but it's kind of hard to manage rest versus rust, and I think Coach Mace did a great job of that.
Okay, so now let's look at the West semifinal, shall we? VA, Rourke, who would scare you more if you were playing for the Riders in the West Final?
Man, like I said, Calgary has shown that they're a tough matchup for the Riders. Their defensive line has gotten after the Riders' offensive line in both games, made it tough for the Riders. And, I would be afraid to face, not necessarily afraid, but, that's kind of a tough word to use. But Calgary's a team that I wouldn't want to face. And not only that, Calgary's a cold weather city as well, right? They practice outside, so they're used to the weather. I would definitely want to play a team that is not used to this type of weather like BC. They play their games indoors, even though they practice outdoors, but they get to go in the comfort of BC place to play. So I would feel much more confident BC coming in, even though they have a little bit more potent offense, and you have to deal with the big play ability of BC. But you've shown time and time again that you can beat this team at home. So Calgary's the team I wouldn't want to play, and I think the 2 games this season shows why.
I look at the quarterback matchup, and let's face it, Vernon Adams Jr. is never going to say it, but you talked about going up against Anthony Calvillo. Even though the two of you were never on the field at the same time, do you think that Vernon Adams Jr. wants to show up BC in the decision that they made and best, even though they were in the same quarterback room, Nathan Rourke?
1,000%. VA never wanted to leave BC. And I think the way he left with a guy coming back from the league and, they kind of kicked him out of town, so to speak, it definitely holds a strong place in his heart, and he would love to show that organization that he deserved to be that guy. And what better way than to knock off this team in Vancouver. So he may never say it or never express his disappointment about that decision, because he's a consummate professional, and he always knows how to conduct himself in the media. He'll never say it, but I can bet, and I'm willing to bet any amount of money that he's really, really, really determined to go into BC Place and show them that they should have never let him go.
So do you have to keep your emotions in check then?
You have to. I mean, I kind of faced that similar situation playing against the Riders my only year in Montreal, the very first game of the season. Of course, there wasn't as much at stake as this game is, but you definitely want to show your former team that they made the wrong decision by letting you go. And we're all human, and we all have feelings, and no player wants to leave a situation that they feel comfortable in. So, and I'm sure VA feels the same way.
So, if you look at the West semifinal, what's the biggest key for Calgary and or BC to get the win?
Well, for BC, I think they have to limit the big playability of this Calgary offense. VA has one of the biggest arms in the league. He's great at stretching the field from sideline to sideline as well as vertically. So if BC can limit the big play ability of big play VA, then I think they put themselves in a great position to win. And as far as Calgary goes, I mean, you have to stop the most potent offense in the league. Nathan Rourke, even with the early season struggles, has shown that he's the top tier quarterback in the league, and this offense is very explosive the entire season. So Calgary has to limit the big play ability of BC as well. So I think it's key for both defenses in this game to make the quarterbacks earn each and every yard that they get through the air. And then, I mean, on top of that, these are two running backs for both teams that both have over 1,000 yards. Both have shown to be key components to their offensive success. So I think this game is going to come down to which defense can stop the opposing offense.
So why don't we shift over to the Eastern semifinal while we still have you here, Darian? I'm curious to get your take on what you think the result of that game. I think a lot of people are probably going to be saying, well, Montreal, this could be a trap game for them. I mean, obviously the third stringer was in for Winnipeg after Strevler went down last week. So what is your take on Davis Alexander versus Wilson?
Well, I think this is a game that Montreal should win. They're hot. They're red hot right now. And Winnipeg is just heating up team. And I hate to say this, but this may be the death of a dynasty. I mean, everyone's
Winnipeg,
football
you can say
career.
that here.
I don't like to wish, even though I don't like Winnipeg, the guys on that team, a lot of those guys were in their primes when I played. So I'm friends with a lot of those guys, but we all have an expiration date in this league, and Winnipeg has a ton of guys over the age of 30, between 34 and 40. And, at that point in time, you may have to think about what's next. So I think that, with the age of this Winnipeg roster and all that they've been through, the injuries or whatnot, and the way that Montreal has been playing, and it's so tough to go to Montreal and play when that stadium gets rocking. So I think all the advantages are leaning towards the Alouettes for this game.
At least there's no more air horns.
Supposedly.
Really? I don't see how they can do that in Montreal. I don't think the crowd would be the same without those air horns. So we'll see. Some fans are going to sneak them in the stadium for sure.
Oh yeah,
Darian, I rely on your eye for talent, and I want to back this up a little bit. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, at one point I was talking with a player this season. They said, you know what? We're battle tested. All year long, we've been battle tested. Nothing's been handed to us. We've had to work hard and earn wins in each and every way. Davis Alexander for the Montreal Alouettes has not lost a game that he has started in the Canadian Football League. I don't know if he's battle tested or not, but when you put your evaluation tools towards him, what do you see?
I see a guy who has everything. I honestly see kind of a young me. As far as goes, we're both kind of shorter, stockier guys. Tough, gritty, willing to do whatever it takes to win games. And I kind of see a little bit of myself in him. And I also look at his coaching staff. I mean, to have Anthony Calvillo and Jason Moss on his side, 2 Grey Cup winning quarterbacks, one being a Hall of Famer. I think he has all the support system in place needed to have success. So those guys, they'll keep the temperature down for him. They'll keep his head in the game, and they'll make sure that he doesn't get too high or try to do too much in these situations. Even though I don't think he's been in a game of this magnitude, I think the support he has around him will be able to keep him, even keeled, and he'll be able to manage, and we'll see the best of him come Saturday.
What about Brady Oliveira? Is he the X factor in this game? If he can get going, then Winnipeg's got an opportunity to control?
No doubt. I think that's the way that you can kind of dictate what Noel Thorpe and this Montreal defense is running as far as play calling goes. If you can get that run game going, that's one thing that Noel Thorpe doesn't like. He doesn't like for running backs to be able to get to the second level. He makes sure he stops the run. So if Winnipeg can get this run game going, now you can get some predictable coverages. You don't have to worry about the disguising as much because those safeties and halfbacks, they'll be in the box trying to stop Brady Oliveira. So if Winnipeg can get the run game going, then they can really they'll have an opportunity to take some shots on this Montreal defense because Noel Thorpe, he becomes a little vanilla once the running back gets going.
Can you over-prepare for this game plan this week?
That's a tough question. I don't know if there's a such thing as over-prepare. I think you need to make sure you're prepared for any and everything. You have to worry about the trick plays, the fake punts, anything that can change the game, special teams. You have to be ready for it all. Look, next week is not promised, right? So there's no need to keep any bullets in the holster. You have to let them all fly. You have to make sure that you do any and everything it takes to win, because the worst feeling in the world is going into the offseason wishing you would have ran a play or wishing that there's something else that you could have done. So I don't think you can over prepare. I think you have to make sure you're prepared for any and everything that may come your way.
So before we let you go, Darian, I know we're up against the clock. I apologize for that. But being a fellow Dallas Cowboys fan, I just wanted to say Tegan cheers for Cincinnati. So you know what she's going through.
Wow.
You know, the worst part, Darian, is I actually went to Minneapolis for a game, second game after Joe Burrow went down. Mm-hmm. Jake Browning played that game, and it was the biggest historic loss in Bengals franchise history.
Wow.
And I paid to watch it. It was history in the making, right?
Well, I think that's two for what happened this week with the Jets. I mean, wow!
I know.
and then you're up on the Jets, right? So you would have thought that this would be in the bag, but man, lose to an 0-7 Jets team. You may be feeling a little bit worse than me dealing with my Cowboys, so that's tough.
Dave just had to bring that up, Darian.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
Hey, anytime.
Salt in the wound. Okay, well, let's move along. No, thank you very much for your time, Darian. Sure appreciate it. Enjoy the semifinals this weekend.
Thanks, guys.
We'll talk again soon. Darian Durant, of course. This is the Sports Cage and the home of Saskatchewan Roughrider football on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. We'll be right back with Pats Chat.
620 CKRM is your home to country's greatest hits and the 90s at 9. 1 full hour featuring the biggest hits of the 90s. Garth, Reba, Alan, Shania, George, and so much more. No cassette tape or CDs required, and 90s mullets are optional. 90s at 9 for the town of Wolseley and the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM.
The postal strike has thrown a monkey wrench into the world-famous Keniston Superdraft. If you're waiting for your forms and they don't show up, head over to superdraft.com and print them off today. There's still $90,000 in total cash prizes to be won in the world-famous draft. Don't miss out. And yes, the Super 8 is back. Don't wait for the mail. Hit up superdraft.com. Find some buddies and get in on some real NHL pool action with the Keniston Superdraft. Deadline is October 28th, 8 p.m. Central Time.
All the farmland and equipment you could need are available at auction this fall with Ritchie Brothers. A wide variety of farmland auctions across Western Canada will begin in earnest in October and run into December to get you ready for the next season. With new parcels of land and equipment continually added to their inventory, make sure to visit their website so you never miss an opportunity. Head over to rbauction.com to get started. Again, that's rbauction.com.
The name you know and trust has moved closer to you. Mainline Motors is now only 30 minutes away. The amazing deals and award-winning service is now at your doorstep. Mainline Motors, a proud Saskatchewan name for generations, is here to serve your every need with a huge selection of new and pre-owned with prices that won't be beat. Do your wallet a favor and call Southie Mainline today, 306-726-2060, or check us out online, southie-mainline.ca. Worth the drive every time, guaranteed.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Steelcraft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
Yes, so Game 3 World Series, Jays in LA. First pitch goes out just after 6 o'clock, all tied up in the best-of-7 series, a game apiece. So you got Scherzer on the mound for the Jays and Glasnow for the Dodgers. We're going to talk with Dante Decaria about that a little bit more later on. But in the NFL, we have Monday Night Football, Washington Commanders, Kansas City Chiefs, 6:15. And then in the NHL, you got the Boston Bruins in Ottawa to take on the Senators for 5:30 puck drop. And in the NBA, Toronto Raptors and San Antonio Spurs just after 6. And now, let's talk some Pats hockey.
Time now for Sportscage Pat Chat, powered by Southie Mainline Motors. The name you trust. Mainline Motors is now only 30 minutes from Regina. Amazing deals and award-winning service is now at your doorstep. SouthieMainline.ca.
All right, Dante Decaria, voice of the Regina Pats, joining us now. Man, you just had a little mini road trip in Alberta, hey? How was that?
Yes, I did. We got back to Regina at about 8 o'clock in the morning, so it was something else.
So, and you took time out of your day where you could have been napping to come here.
Today? I was at work all day today. I was working all day today.
Showing off.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, I thought you were going to talk about yesterday, because yesterday I went straight to baseball pitching lessons from the bus.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay, so Dante Decaria, the man who doesn't sleep, duly noted.
Sleep's overrated, by the way.
I just need it to function. No big deal. But yes, I'm Tegan Whitco with Dave Thomas and Dante Decaria here. Of course, I should probably mention that. Let's talk about that comeback win for the Pats on Saturday.
Yeah, that was crazy, wasn't it? I mean, down 4-2 going into the third period against one of the top teams in the WHL, if not the best team, a team that's built to win a WHL championship. I think that's why we left so late, because everybody was just so excited. They didn't want to get on the bus and get home, but the vibes were high. Music was playing on the bus. I think we enjoyed that win for a couple hours, and then everybody got to sleep. But, Caden Brown, first WHL hat trick to complete the comeback win. Just what a moment for him going into his 20-year-old season. And then, Julie Mace staying hot with a 2-goal performance. But I know those are the two guys that got on the score sheet. But to be honest with you, Dave and Tegan, I think it was a full team effort. It's not easy to go into that rink, playing the second game of back-to-back after a long bus ride from Red Deer to Edmonton. We got into Edmonton about 1:30 in the morning. Once you unload all the gear and stuff like that, you're at the hotel at 2 and then morning skate, at 10 the next day. So it's not easy, but the team was ready to go. They wanted to come back to Regina with a victory, and the team's now rattled off 3 wins in the last 4 games. So the team's on an upward trend right now.
But like you said, right, who needs sleep? They're fine. They're teenagers. They can handle it. How do you see this team's identity coming together? Like, you get to see every single game. You get to see the camaraderie between them, develop those relationships. What is this Pats team in 2025-26?
Well, I asked Brad Haroff actually the same question that was on our pregame show on Saturday, and he said that we have that no-quit mentality. And they understand that they're not in Edmonton. They're not an Everett-style team where they have, several drafted NHL players. I think Edmonton went into that game with 5 NHL drafted players and 7 players ranked by Central Scouting, which is incredible. So that's 12 players that are, essentially either going to be drafted to the NHL or already drafted to the NHL. So that's a team led by a former NHL player in Jason Smith that's built to win a league championship. Then you look at Everett. They haven't lost a game in regulation this year, right? They're really good. So this Pats team understands what their identity is and that they're going to have to outwork a lot of the teams. And they know that they're going to have to get scoring by committee. And they're going to have to get performances by committee. And that doesn't just mean putting the puck in the back of the net, but that means doing the little things right. Jace Eglin, for example, blocked a huge shot in the third period. I think Regina was down a goal, if not tied. He blocked the shot, and he could barely stand on his 2 feet. He stayed on the ice and was able to actually get the puck in the slot. He cleared the puck out on the PK, went to the bench, and then I was asking Brad about this after the game, and Brad said that he called out the next 2 players to go back on the ice to finish the penalty kill, and he said, "I'm good, send me back out there, coach." And Brad's like, "You just wobbled off the ice." And he's like, "No, I'm good." And he went back out there and killed the rest of the penalty. There's some tough players on this team that a lot of the fans, they don't see those little things like that. Jace Eglin's prime example. But I think the no-quit mentality and just the culture of this team obviously comes from Dale and Brad, but it has to be from the players as well. And I think Efren McNutt embodies that. And he's really, him and Colton Bridgman and Caden Brown and Zach Moore, who's currently injured right now, have really, pushed that to the younger players. And it hasn't been easy. This team has dealt with a lot of injuries as of late. They're playing with 2 affiliate players in the lineup with Schultz and Pugh currently at U17s. They've already left. So they've been kind of shorthanded, and they're making the best of what they have with their lineup right now.
The lineup changed a little bit in the last week with some deals that were made. Of course, Kelton Pine goes off to Vancouver. An older defenseman comes in Kowalik. Tell me about what that move means for the team. Obviously, it's tough when you're shifting players that have been here for a while.
Yeah, and I know a lot of fans have been asking this. So the Kowalik trade has now been retracted. He's not reporting to Regina. So I think he's called his career quits. So he's not playing hockey anymore. And so the 7th-round pick was returned from Seattle to Regina. But in the other 2 trades, Kelton Pine dealt to Vancouver for a 6th-round pick, and Braden Smith dealt to the Lethbridge Hurricanes for a 5th and an 8th-round pick. I think what those trades do is give younger players an opportunity to get more ice time. For example, it's not fair to Taylor Tabashnik, who had a great year with the Pac Canadians last year, to be a third goalie and essentially sit in the stands and only practice. He needs to get ice time because Schlenker's going to be 20 next year and Tabashnik's going to be 19. And yes, you can go with those 2 goaltenders next year. Drake Mooney will also be pushing for a spot as a 17-year-old next year. He's a top prospect, was drafted fairly high last year. So they had to make room for their goalie pipeline as well. And it's a tough move to move on from Pelton Pine. He was a 5-year Regina Pat, actually finished top 20 in appearances amongst Pat's goaltenders in their 105-year history, which is just incredible. He's a local kid, too, so great opportunity for him in Vancouver. Obviously, hate to see Braden Smith go, just a great kid, and the boys loved him and stuff like that, but now a great opportunity for Aiden Wagner, who is a huge part of the Pats' future. He's 16, and he hasn't looked at a place in the last couple of games, and a big thanks to the Saskatoon Blazers for allowing us to use him over the last couple of games. And yeah, it's all about building for the future, and I think this is where the team is treading right now.
Jason wants to know from the text line, sorry, I'm going to throw this. Jason wants to know, and Dante, this is for you, Carter Kowalik, does that mean if he changes his mind and decides he wants to play, can he come back?
I guess because, so from what I understand, his rights were returned to Seattle, but they already have 3 20-year-olds, so they had to throw him on waivers. He cleared waivers, so he's a free agent. So, for example, if he picked up the phone and called Dale, from what I understand, and said, hey, I want to play for the Pats, we wouldn't have to give up any assets.
Gotcha.
From what I understand.
There you go, Jason.
Yeah.
So you said it yourself. This is quite a young team. They are building and building and building every game, every year. Who are some of those players that maybe aren't getting the attention that you think they deserve as someone who is doing the play-by-play, calling these games night in, night out. We hear a lot of Maddox Schultz and Liam Pugh, of course. Right now they're gone, U17. They're also playing with the Pat Canadians, so they're quite
Doing
busy.
well.
Yeah. So who are some of those other guys? Like, I'm thinking maybe like the Ephraim McNutt, you know, some of those guys that just maybe don't get their flowers.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, Tegan. I could obviously sit here and say Ephraim McNutt, Caden Brown, those type of players, Reese Hamilton, but like they're on the top of the score sheet every single night, so it wouldn't be fair to kind of shine a light on them. To me, I look at a guy like Dave Sturkach, who I know there was a lot of talk around the city when he was acquired from Prince Albert, given the name and the legacy that his dad carries with the organization, having his number retired and being the team's all-time leading scorer and also being the general manager as well. But I think what people don't understand is like Dace, for example, on Saturday against Edmonton was so key, winning key defensive faceoffs because he's one of their top faceoff guys. And by the way, Maddox Schultz is too, but he's not there all the time, right? So Durkach has to play in those situations. He has to win an offensive draw. He has to win a D-zone draw. But to me, the important thing was when Regina had the momentum and it was 4-4, Haroff sent out Durkach, Eglin, Shea Rollison, Paul, etc., like some of those younger players, right, to kind of hem the opposition in their own zone and forecheck and play hard and be physical. And they did exactly that. And I know those things don't show up on the score sheet, but those players are crucial. I mean, Dave, you've been around hockey for a long time as well. Like, it's not all about goals, assists, and points for everybody on the roster. Yes, you need to score. Yes, you need to, points lead to goals. They lead to wins. But those players are so important to the team. And Durkach blocks every shot that he can. He's so smart. And I think he deserves a lot more credit than people give him. I know they're looking at him at an acquisition and saying, well, he hasn't produced, he hasn't scored a goal, he's only picked up one assist, but that's not his role on the team, and he knows what his role is. He has to provide energy, he has to be smart, he has to play good defense, he has to win faceoffs, and I think, he's come as advertised. He's done exactly that. He's never been a point guy in his WHL career.
Can I go to the Prairie Land text line again?
Yeah,
It's way easier than me having to formulate my own questions. This one is
That's called cheating.
Sorry, it's at 306-936-6262. And again, text us your name because then we can actually mention your name. So you talked about the late night arrival, and I'm just paraphrasing this. A late night arrival, you have a pregame skate, and then you play a game, and then you drive through the night.
Yeah.
What does it look like? Now, when I was riding the bus back in the day, again, we would watch, what was it, Slapshot 1,000 times, and then, we'd all get sick and tired of it by then. It's a lot different, I would assume, in 2025. What's a bus ride like?
Okay, so a bus ride, I'll just start off with a bus ride going like on the road to, for example, Red Deer. So Thursday, we arrive at the rink. There's food ready for us thanks to Sub Express. They provided our breakfast wraps. So we had breakfast wraps in the morning. Bus left at about 9:15. We jumped on the road. We stopped in Medicine Hat to get Boston Pizza. Those were all pre-ordered meals. So Max Paddock, our manager, hockey ops and goaltending coach, will send out, a week in advance saying, hey, here's what we can order from on this Boston Pizza menu. Send us your orders by this day, right? Then myself, the coaches, will get off the bus. We'll go into Boston Pizza. We'll grab all the food, and then we'll hand it out. Then we continue to keep on trekking. We get to Red Deer, say around 6:30, maybe 7 o'clock at night. I don't remember exactly when we got there, but it was dark out, right? Actually, sorry, I forgot one part. First, we go to the rink, drop off everything. Equipment manager will generally stay to help kind of set up the room and stuff like that with Cole, our Gord Cochran and Cole Stevens, our athletic therapist and equipment manager. Then we go to the hotel and we eat. The next day, everybody wakes up, breakfast first thing in the morning, go to morning skate, which is generally away team is like 11 a.m. Morning skate, bus back to the hotel, pregame meal at 2, bus to the rink at 4:30, play the game, jump on the bus, drive through the night, get to Edmonton, get there at about 1:30 in the morning, drop off all the gear, set it all up, come back the next day, morning skate for those that, like, not everybody's going to morning skate on a back-to-back. It's usually the guys that didn't have, like, a ton of ice time. Yeah. Like, if you played, like, 25 minutes, there's no chance you're going to participate.
You're resting.
Exactly. You're resting, right? Maybe doing some stretching and activation, stuff like that. Guys that are injured will come for treatment. You know that with the riders, right? And then you play the game, and we jump on the bus. We usually eat at the rink or pick up. We picked up Boston Pizza on the way home, jumped on the bus, got to Regina, unloaded. Our equipment manager probably would have stayed and done the laundry, and then we're in our bed at 8 a.m.
Wow. So what music are you blaring on the road? Because I know that every team seems to have their win songs, right?
Yeah, that was actually the first time in my career, actually, with the Pats, that the players were playing music. and rightfully so, given the comeback win.
I would say so.
Right?
Yeah.
That was Efren McNutt who decided to pull out a speaker and play some music. It wasn't like blasting or anything like that, but
that's leadership.
Yes, yeah. It was good. Guys were laughing, having a good time. It's nice to see people excited, but I'm trying to remember what music we played. I don't actually remember. I was kind of in my own world working on my computer doing the recap. So for ReginaPats.com. So I don't really remember. But as far as the music I hear in the room, I find there's like a lot of country because McNutt's like a Alberta guy.
Oh yeah.
Right. So
back on the ice here on Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
So the team is on a roll, obviously feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep that roll going?
Well, I think they need to continue to do what they're doing. I mean, I know you're showing some of the highlights right here. That was an amazing goal from Caden Brown, by the way. I mean, to outweight the goaltender. But to me, the most important thing when you're a young team is never to get too high and never to get too low. And Dave, you've been around the game longer than me.
Thanks for saying I'm old.
Aw, but he did it so nicely.
You have to manage your emotions throughout the season. You can't say, okay, we've rattled 3 wins in our last 4 games, we can take our foot off the gas, because the team is still a handful of games under 500. So they have a little bit of catch-up to do right now. So in order to get to where they want to be, you got 2 games against Brandon this week, who, yes, they've won their last 2 games. They beat Lethbridge 7-0 and Moose Jaw 8-4, but like they're still, essentially in the same position the Pats are in the standings. In fact, they each have 9 points. It's early, right? So you can't take any opponents lightly. You have to continue to do what you're doing, and that's have the same mentality of the no-quit, underdog, work hard, etc., right? But the game's coming up. Moose Jaw's played well this season, right? But you got to play Moose Jaw on Friday. Tegan's old team, by the way. And then you got Brandon for 2 games this week.
I'll proudly admit that, Dante.
Friday, Saturday is going to be tough. You play Moose Jaw on Friday, and then you got to jump on the bus to play at 6 p.m. in Brandon on Saturday. But they're in Central Time, right? So you lose the hour or gain the hour. Is it gain the hour?
We changed times, so we'll be on the same time as them.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because I believe daylight saving.
Oh no, it
time
starts on
begins...
Sunday.
Yeah, not on Saturday.
Right.
Right, so we got to leave earlier, and they play at 6.
Yeah.
So we're it's going to be a late night in Moose Jaw. Come back, maybe get back to the Brand Center at 11 p.m. and then get home and get on the bus for 9 or 10 the next day, maybe even earlier.
Dave alluded to it. Brandon Wheat Kings in town Wednesday night, Brand Center. What do you see in that team?
They're underperforming right now, to be quite honest with you. They're a really good team, though. I was doing some of my prep on them today. Yeah, they've rattled off a couple of wins as of late. The last time the Pats faced them, they beat them 6-4 2 Saturdays ago. You were there, Tegan. I know. That was a fun game. But, they got Luke Misselbacher, 45 goals last year, a Swift Current. They've got Jackson Jacobson, who's probably going to be a top draft pick in next year's NHL draft due to his late December birthday. They have so many great players on that team. They just haven't played up to expectations just yet. I mean, that should be a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference, hands down. So
that can
can't take them lightly because they might get hot, right? I mean, hey, they scored 8 and 7 goals over the weekend. They can score. It's been not allowing as many goals against that's been kind of hurting them a little bit this year.
So this could turn out to be entertaining
They got a
game.
goalie that they're calling the Monster. He's 6'8", by the way. This Czech goalie they have.
Wow.
Yeah.
6'8".
Yeah.
Probably a lot of syllables in his last name, too.
Yes.
Dante, you spent a little time there telling us just, how crazy that road schedule can be. And I'm curious, as Dante Decaria is our voice of the Regina Pats here on 620 CKRM, he's our guest right now. How do you stay fresh?
That's a great question. I had a little bit of a migraine. I get bad migraines. I had a bad migraine on Saturday. So my new thing for me...
Well, we know it's not sleep, so...
Oh, really?
Well, you said you don't sleep.
Yes. Well, I missed morning skate on Saturday, so if the hockey ops guys are listening right now, they'd be giving me the gears.
Yeah.
They were a little... they were on me for that, saying, "Oh, you only do half the games now, eh?"
Wow.
Anyways, Sage? You like Sage? You ever been to Sage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there with my wife.
I'm not this isn't a paid plug or anything. I'm not sponsored by them by anything, but I'm addicted to Sage, and they've got a couple of different creams and stuff like that I use. The headache remedy one is awesome. That helps, especially on a game day back to back when my eyes are hurting.
Yeah.
But they've got an energy one that you put on the back of your neck. I usually give that, and then there's a smell one that kind of wakes you up a little bit.
Like smelling salts?
Smelling salts, yeah.
Sort of. So I give that a little whiff and put that on my head and on the back of my neck, and I'm up and ready to go. But honestly, once I get to the rink, I just
zone in.
Yeah, zone in, blackout type thing.
I'm sure Dave can relate.
Dave knows what it's like, but
a little bit.
sometimes I wish I like doing less games is much easier. Like you're not doing back-to-backs in football.
No.
Hockey can be a little bit of a grind, but nothing beats a grind of baseball. That's what I tell anytime I feel tired doing a hockey schedule, I always remind myself, hey, remember when there was no days off in baseball and you're playing 140 to 162 games and you're like traveling on a back-to-back? But the difference in baseball is you're there for like a series. So.
I'm glad that you brought up baseball, actually, because I saw that you won Grassroots Coach of the Year. Let's give it up for Dante. Congratulations, my man.
Thank you. Now it's back-to-back. Well, no, this year's award was different than the one last year. I got the Baseball Canada Grassroots Coaching Award. This year I got the Sask Baseball Grassroots Coaching Award. But I just want to give thanks to my team, to all the parents that nominated me. I think my mom can probably attest to it. Like, I sent her some of the nomination letters I got from like 6 or 7 parents, families.
That's so cool.
Reading those meant more than any award that I've ever won, just to see how much the families appreciate everything I've done. I know my mom was pretty emotional reading some of those things, just how much I gave back and helped their kids. So I appreciate it. Big shout out to my team manager, Jen. She provided me with a lot of support over the course of the season, as did all the parents and players. Definitely the most fun I've ever had in baseball. Really close with a lot of the families, and now I'm excited to start my own travel program, the Queen City Pinguinos. Not the Penguins, the Pinguinos.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're called. We're going to be training indoors all winter, and because of the Blue Jays, I think my kids are really excited to get back. They're all asking me, when are we practicing? The indoor facility is not fully set up yet, the one that's opening, so we can't practice just yet. But we will be going to Kamloops at the end of April for Best of the West. So really looking forward to that tournament, and hopefully some more tournaments in the future as I continue to improve and grow as a coach.
Well, congratulations again. That's so cool.
Thanks.
And I know that you are, obviously, with the Blue Jays being in the World Series right now, Game 3 happening tonight in LA. I think there's a bit of baseball fever around here, so you're probably going to see some interest there. But really quick, before we have to take a break here, what's your prediction? Jays, Dodgers, Game 3 tonight.
I don't do predictions, Tegan. The guys on the team are asking me the same thing.
Yeah?
I don't like doing predictions. I hate, like, people are asking me before the series, like, are the Jays going to win in 4, 5, 6, or 7? I'm like, no, I don't do predictions. I'm just Okay,
what do you think of the pitching matchup then?
Scherzer, man, you got to, like, he's been in 4 World Series now. He's won 2. You got to trust that he's going to be able to give the Jays at least 5 innings of good baseball.
Okay, see? There, we got an answer. Woo, I'll take that as a win. Dante Decaria, catch him right here on 620 CKRM as the Brandon Wheat Kings come to town to face your Regina Pats. That's Wednesday evening. Thank you so much again for coming.
Awesome, thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back on the other side. This is the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM and streaming on sportscage.com.
You've worked hard for years, but when you retire, do you know your options that truly fit you and your family? That's where Chad Reach, Senior Wealth Advisor, and the team at GP Financial Services and Aviso Wealth come in. They help you understand your choices, avoid costly mistakes, and build a retirement plan. Independent advice, local expertise. Before you make the next move, talk to Chad Reach, 306-584-2755.
Mutual funds and other securities are offered through Aviso Wealth, a division of Aviso Financial Inc.
So, since that little ding on my car last week, I don't know where to take it.
I don't even know.
That's easy. Take it to Regina Motor Products.
Who said that?
I did. Down here. I'm Terry the Tire. Regina Motor Products Chevrolet Collision Center and SGI accredited auto body repair is a full-service collision and body shop that works on all makes and models. Just submit your claim to SGI and set an appointment to get your appraisal done. Easy.
I bet you're tired after saying all that.
South at Highway 1 and 6, Albert Street. RMPChevrolet.com.
The Rough Rider Foundation's 50-50 is heating up. And the early bird prize for the West Final is a week in sunny Costa Rica, or $9,000 cash. But don't wait. The deadline is 5 p.m. November 6th. You could be cheering in paradise, or cheering here with a wallet full of winnings. Don't get hit with regret. Buy your 50-50 tickets early at riders5050.ca and go Riders!
Riders 50-50 is presented by ISC. Lottery license LR250011.
Getting in on more of the sports action you want is as easy as playing at sportselect.com. Simply make your picks online, generate your QR code, and lock in your bet at your local Lotto Spot retailer. Then sit back, watch the game, grip your chair, and high-five anyone nearby. Every bet is 100% legal with the chance of winning cash in hand. When you're ready to play, bet on the original. Must be 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
The name you know and trust has moved closer to you. Mainline Motors is now only 30 minutes away. The amazing deals and award-winning service is now at your doorstep. Mainline Motors, a proud Saskatchewan name for generations, is here to serve your every need with a huge selection of new and pre-owned with prices that won't be beat. Do your wallet a favor and call Southie Mainline today, 306-726-2060, or check us out online, southie-mainline.ca. Worth the drive every time, guaranteed.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262 for Prairie Land Rentals. Renting heaters, skid steers, and most power tools for all those winter jobs. And your official Husqvarna snow thrower dealer. Prairie Land Rentals, 600 Albert Street, where you deal with the owner. Welcome back to Sportscage. Get social with us. Follow us on X at Sportscage. Watch our video stream at sportscage.com and always on the radio at 620 CKRM.
And of course, this is the Sportscage on 620 CKRM YouTube as well. I'm Tegan Whitco, your Monday host of the Sports Cage. Barney will be back in tomorrow. I am joined right now by Dave Thomas on the Sports Cage, brought to you by Kellen Solar, installing solar in residential and commercial buildings for 35 years, local and trusted. Kellen Solar. Visit kellensolar.com. By the way, Prairie Land Rentals text line busy today. We will also be awarding a pair of West Final tickets.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that is going to be coming up after the show. We will be, my main man here, Curtis, behind the board, he's going to be making the draw, so I will take no bribes if you want to win those free tickets to the West Final. But right now, it is time to take a look at the sprinkle of the day for Sports Select. Getting in on more sports action, it's easy. All you have to do, play on sportselect.com. Simply make your picks online, generate your QR code, lock in your bet, and then go to your local lotto spot retailer. Or, you could just go inside and fill out the slip yourself. But I don't know about you, my writing is typically not legible, so this is much easier, Dave.
Absolutely.
Every bet is 100% legal with a chance of winning cash in hand. Sports Select, when you're ready to play, bet on the original. Must be 18 plus to play, and please play responsibly. I'm willing to go out on a limb here and say there's some people who are playing along when it comes to this Toronto Blue Jays game, Dave. So let's look at the pro line here. Toronto, 3 on the pro line here, 3.30, and then LA 1.8.
Okay, I get that. I was looking at some of the futures that they do. So, you can pick who you think might be, for example, the most valuable player. No doubt that Shohei Ohtani leads the way. Vladdy Guerrero Jr., though, has got the next best chances when you're looking at the numbers. So, interesting. I also wanted to see if I could go ahead and look at who was going to win the 2027 Grey Cup, but they didn't have that yet.
Not yet?
No, but I'll check it out on my app later.
Okay. Again, that is brought to you by Sports Select. Make sure that you play responsibly. Okay, I think that's it. I think we did it.
Did as much damage as I could.
Well, I probably did more, but that's okay.
No, we were okay.
It's okay. Stand by. Someone's going to be winning those tickets to the West Final Saturday, November 8th at Mosaic Stadium. It's time for us to say sayonara, farewell, good night from the Sports Cage studio. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you missed anything throughout the show, by the way, you can always go back, watch it on our YouTube channel or sportscage.com. Some great conversations today with 3 Down Nation's Justin Dunk, Blake Murphy from Sportsnet teeing up Game 3 of the World Series in LA tonight. We had Corey Mace on, Craig Reynolds after the big Grey Cup announcement, Darian Durant stopped by, and of course, Mr. Dante Decaria, our voice of the Regina Pats. But that's it for us tonight from downtown Regina. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you next Monday.
The road to the 112th Grey Cup rolls through Riderville. Don't miss a moment of this weekend's CFL West semifinal here on the Cooperators Rider Broadcast Network, 620 CKRM. Saturday, we'll have all of the action in a winner-takes-all Western showdown. The losers go home, and the winners face the Roughriders in the Western Final at Mosaic Stadium. We'll break down the matchup starting at 12.